The next 2 games, 2 teams go home. 2 teams will have their major dreams shattered. And it's only the Challenger stage and it's only day 3. That is reality for teams that go 0-2 to start off their tournament. Swiss, 3 you're in, 3 you're out. It really is that simple. And now we have the introductions. Once again, I am Machine, I'm your host, and I am joined by Sponge and Pimp to hopefully get our heads around Renegades, Space Soldiers. A couple of asterisks, a bit of housekeeping to get our segment underway. Space Soldiers, and you may be bored of hearing it if you've been watching everything, but I want to reiterate for those that are not initiated, the reason they find themselves here in 0-2 was because of some problems with a visa. I mean, I'll let you tell the story a little quicker than I can.
Unfortunate incidents with the Turkish side. Engine, the 5th member of the squad, unable to get a visa in time to get to this event, which means that they have to play with their coach Hardstyle, who is not proficient in the Counter-Strike realms.
From the players themselves, he is not a Counter-Strike player. He does not play Counter-Strike competitively.
Also from the players, he's been putting in as many hours as he possibly can to do the best job, and the in-game leader, Major of this team, is sitting there and saying, this is the cards we've been dealt, and we're going to deal with it the best way we can.
I don't know how they do it, and I have so much admiration for this squad, because I mean, I know myself personally, I would really struggle with this situation. I would be probably really unwilling to A, play, B, try hard, and C, I'd be really struggling to not just be raging in the social world, social atmosphere,
It'd
perhaps,
be very
social
upsetting,
media,
right?
Perhaps. But he's not. And you know what? I think there's a lot of brownie points to be given to Space Soldiers. Unfortunately, those don't convert directly to wins, Jacob.
Nah, it's one of those situations where you gotta play with the card you're dealt with. And I have huge respect for Major for going out and publicly saying that they're trying their absolute best. Yeah. Respect to Hardstyle for taking the job. I would be afraid if I were not a Counter-Strike player and all of a sudden being thrown for the Wolves and have to play at the biggest tournament of the year. So obviously the players on Space Soldiers are super, super disappointed. They're not able to play with the full lineup and showcase the potential that they undoubtedly have. But it's just the way it is, and they just gotta make the best out of it.
Just with those considerations in mind, the Space Soldiers roster have still been able to put up, a decent performance. And Torres and Calyx getting the kills that they need to. They've won all 4 of their pistol rounds over 2 games. You have to look at those things, and you have to now look at this of a Renegades who are struggling themselves, who have done absolutely nothing to impress at all. There is a chance here. There is a chance that they lose to a team with a coach as a stand-in.
And when we say a coach as a stand-in, we really said he's not a player. He's getting 2, 3... maybe 4 frags
couple
a game,
of kills,
right?
that's it.
And they've already pushed complexity to 16-11. Rogue 16-10. They're getting double digits against teams that have already surprised. In fact, complexity are 1 win away from the bloody legendary stage.
Rogue pushed Astralis all the way.
And they're getting double digits, essentially 5v4. There's some credit to be given there, and we can actually start talking about which team will we talking about first? Renegades?
Renegades?
I think we talk about the Renegades, the Aussies. It's easy to get hung up on Space Soldiers, but we can start focusing on the Renegades. The Renegades of funk, and indeed it has been like they've been in a bit of a funk as of late.
Yeah, definitely so. It's not the team firing on all cylinders by any means. It just feels like at this point that they've had Jacob in the squad now for 6 months, that they should have been finding some consistency with form, and you don't get consistency out of any of these players. JKS, can he be a star? Yes. Azza, can he be a star? Yes. Nifty, can he light the server up with the AWP? Yes. Jacob, can he get it done? Yes. Ustilo, can he entry frag? Yes. Can they all do it at the same time on a consistent basis? Definitely not.
Okay, that's your summary of Renegades. That was a TLDR on Renegades in 2018. They have got clear roles that seem to be at one time or another paying off for each individual player. It's just about seeing all of those stars shining brightly at the same time. Words are getting difficult at 9 p.m.
It has just been super, super lackluster from this roster. I do feel there was some positive surroundings around them during Dallas, during the Pro League season where they did well. Jacob got into the team and impressed everyone, basically. Had a good showing. The team felt renewed, and there was new motivation. They were in like this, we like to call it the honeymoon period within Counter-Strike. But ever since Dallas, ever since that good start for this team, it's just been downwards and downwards and downwards. And now they find themselves in a 0-2 situation here at this major qualifier, and we're talking about they potentially can go up against a Space Soldiers with a coach who doesn't play Counter-Strike and lose. So that tells quite the story about how much Renegades have been playing bad as well.
They have to step it up, that's for sure. And of course, a reminder of how they got here. They lost to Big 16-6 and Gambit 16-10. These rosters are brought to you by DreamTeam.gg. I say these rosters, you've only seen one. The other, Space Soldiers. We've talked an awful lot about them, but it's time to see some of those gorgeous, gorgeous frags. And of course, there's no name like Xantares, Calyx. Those two, this double duo.
You know what is super sad about this whole situation? I feel both Xantares and Calyx have shown themselves the past year to be two of the brightest and biggest talent within the Counter-Strike scene.
Yeah.
So for them to experience their first major or their first like real try at a major with a good team to be thrown away, you know, thrown out because of some visa issues, that must be super, super devastating for two such young and inexperienced players, right? It's players that we think of in the future will be at every major and will do well at every major, but the fact that the first try at a major will be so lackluster and so uninspired and just so unlucky in general is just not a cool storyline.
It's not a cool storyline. Unfortunately, it is a tale we have to tell. And I mean, Paz, we haven't talked too much about him. And actually, if we were going to be pointing fingers, admittedly, we probably don't normally chit-chat, but I feel like you were about to take it there.
I was just going to say, Calyx and Xantares have done their job in terms of getting the kills. Obviously, Major has to micromanage Hardstyle, so I'm going to give him, you know, a bit of a... I'm going to let him off the hook there because there's a lot more going through his mind as the in-game leader, having to fill that gap and work out where the holes are with his strategies. But Major and Paz need to step up to a very similar level where we're seeing Xantares and Calyx if they want to win this one. Obviously, we aren't expecting a lot from Hardstyle. If he can just live, if he can drop guns, anything that he can do is a positive for this team. But I want to get talking about the map situation. They've played the same map twice. It's been Inferno.
Correct.
Right? That's fantastic news because this map, Alex, is going to be Inferno again. I've done the video on my head, I've cracked the code, I've done the numbers. Unfortunately, it's going to be Inferno, and I think that's a big mistake for Renegades because if Xantares and Calyx step up and disrespect them because they know that they're better players than everybody on the other side of the server, they're just going to beast it up and put another 20 frags on the board each.
Well, I mean, it seems like Chad's got it all sussed out, but we are going to go through the process all the same and see if his prediction is revealed. We do see goodbye to Nuke and Cash, and now Space Soldiers will be banning 3 to leave Renegades with a choice.
Cash is normally a good map for Renegades.
What happened to the Cash for Renegades?
Who knows, man? It's Inferno. I'm just telling you right now. They're going to have the choice between Inferno and Mirage, and they're going to go with Inferno.
You haven't cheated, have you, Chad?
I haven't cheated. This is... Oh, it's not. Okay, well, I was close. It's between Inferno and... What's the other map I'm forgetting about here? Dust 2. So they're not going to play Dust 2. If they pick Dust 2, that would be the most ridiculous thing in the world, because that's such a map that can be snowballed on. Right? Here we go. This is a safer bet. This is one where it does require structure and strategy, whereas Dust 2, you could just run away with it. You know, the individuals could just light up the scoreboard. That's a map that it can be flipped on its head. Whereas Inferno, more so, it does require... Calyx and Xantares play the same bomb site. Right? They both play B. Right? That just means that you need to lean on A, put pressure on the stand-in, put pressure on the Major and the Paz over towards that A site. That should be how easy it is to do. But it's not going to be that simple.
So, Inferno... Engine is responsible for CTR. It's actually a very incredibly responsible position on the CT side,
yeah,
right?
They've been moving Hardstyle around in different spots.
Okay.
They've had him over towards apps, you know, but the thing is...
It's not a one-to-one transition.
No, not by any means. If you put the pressure point there, he could get exploited round and round again. They actually have to cheat him around and move him. So basically, they're going to call a setup, and then they're going to say, hey, dude, we just want you to sit here, just get 1 kill. His job is just to get 1 kill. Stand in a position, do his absolute best. Don't move him around. Don't put him in a pivot spot, because if you do that, that's when he's going to get caught with a nade out, put out of position, find himself in an unfavorable duel. If Space Soldiers, though, can continue to win these pistols, I'm so scared for Renegades, man.
If they win the pistol, they could get ahead, and I'll give you a head-to-head right now. Damn. Indeed, as you got ready for bed. Brush your teeth. School tomorrow. Is it? No,
tomorrow's Saturday.
Saturday.
So
well, maybe. Saturday school. Yeah, that classic thing that I've never heard of before.
I've never heard of Saturday school either, but maybe these guys need to go, and more so Nifty, because he is the in-game leader for Renegades. It's still relatively new for him to be an in-game leader. I hate saying that, but he was never coming into the game as this is what I want to do. He was an AWPer. He came from Call of Duty.
Do you know what? I'd love to see that leadership taken away from him. Not that he isn't a good leader, and he does clearly have his ideas when I speak to him.
Yeah.
But I would just love to see Nifty with like the Nifty of when he was on the uprise, on the upswing.
With selfless days.
Yeah, exactly. And he was nuts with the selfless.
To outline the biggest difference between a Nifty and a Major is that on the side of Major you have a leader who's not only a leader inside the server but also outside the server. We heard him in the interviews, you're alert to it as well. He's trying to pick up this team and trying to put in as much positive vibes he can and trying to be that leader figure for these young guys.
Right.
Whereas a guy like Nifty, he's a leader because he's forced to be a leader and no one else has the capabilities or abilities to do so.
There's no one else in that Renegades team who could do the in-game leadership.
Sure,
that's a shame.
Sure. But with that said, he has definitely been embracing it. He seems to like the challenge. We had a nice conversation in Dallas, actually. Just seemed to quite some time ago.
By the pool.
But exactly. But he did seem to be very much like in a very like he was very self-reflective and looking outwards.
You know what?
And
sometimes players doesn't know what is best for themselves.
That's true.
Human beings, actually.
Yeah.
Human beings.
Yeah.
I tried it myself. Playing AVP in Dignitas probably wasn't the smartest decision I've ever done in my career. Safe to say. Thought it was, but I think I'm definitely on line with you. I think Nifty would be a much more impactful player and a much better player had he not to worry about controlling 4 kids who doesn't really know how to play Counter-Strike.
My goodness.
Just mentally, though, Renegades back against the wall have everything to lose. If they lose to this team with the coach as a stand-in, I think that's the end of them. And I've been saying this several times now, but they always seem to have like a resurgence. I think this has to be it. This has to be the death knock, where Space Soldiers have nothing to lose.
And with that said, that scene set, rather a grim one at that, I need predictions. And already we've got a split caster desk. What's the analyst desk saying?
I'm going to keep going with the pick against Renegades so they win. So I'm going with Space Soldiers.
Okay. One against
I'm going to go with Renegades because I do believe, despite them being 4 guys who are currently not feeling comfortable playing on this team, I do think the individual skill of these guys is good enough to go up against Shantaris and the Calyx, because those are the only 2 players who I would be afraid of for Renegades. So doesn't really matter that they're not a composed team right now, and regardless of winning or not, I think Renegades is over by this event, but they're going to win against Space Soldiers because they have Hardstyle and it's just too much for them.
Yeah, I mean, it is just essentially a 4.5.
You could be on that
5.
team, Alex.
You know what? I think I have got a higher FACEIT level than him, so
There you go.
that's a start. But anyway, you're right. I'm going to have to go for Renegades. I think it would be a very different story if we did have the full Space Soldiers roster, but for now, we're going to have to see how they handle it. Once again, the pressure mounting as Space Soldiers. They've got double digits every time, but they need to cross the line at least once if they want to survive at the Major, and the same can be said for Renegades. Let's jump in with the casters. It's Mr. Bardolph and Mr. I practiced this for you, Dan. Capadia.
Boom, Daniel Capadia.
Nailed it. Wow.
Hello.
Very, very good. Very good.
Yeah, so it's not Capdia, it's not Calpdia, it's not Clapdia. Capadia, Capadia.
Got a case of the, you know,
Got a case of the Clapdia.
I love how savage Pimp is. He's just like, he's so honest.
Yeah.
Brutally honest. I like it. It's really good. I do think it's like he said, you know, he thinks the Renegades will be over after this event. I think that it has actually been ages that they've had this lineup and really struggled. And it's one of those things which is crazy because they have a lot of skill, but you've got to put it together in a system that works.
I'm surprised we saw so many people vote for Space Soldiers, but what have you guys been voting for on the Upcomer app? That is the question. If you don't have it yet, you can find it on your relevant app store or upcomer.com. Show me the percentages. I am so curious. A fat 35%. I mean, that's they have a good support in general. Space Soldiers. We're fans.
Yeah.
It's so sad that they don't have the whole team here, but such is life. They are trying to do some shopping though for some mice and mouse pads, which is curious. Anyway. I can't pick Space Soldiers to win because they should not win.
Yeah, but the thing is that it's just like a story of hearts. You know, thus the heart goes to Space Soldiers. You know, they have this horrible situation. They've been handling it, as Alex said on the desk, like amicably. And so, you know, you can't help but not want to see them get some joy.
Yeah, you want to see them, but they still should not win. I mean, it's basically, no disrespect, of course. I mean, it's just a situation. It's basically a 4 versus 5 with the odd extra grenade here or there.
So going with what Pimp said, what you're really doing is just setting up how awful it's going to be when Renegades lose. If that happens, of course. If it happens. I mean, Renegades, of course, as you say, they should absolutely win here. This should be pretty easy going, but you know, Space Soldiers, they're dangerous. They're really dangerous. You know, Counter-Strike in a best of 1 format can always be scary because if you are on the losing end of a pistol round, again, as mentioned, Space Soldiers have won 4 of 4 pistol rounds so far, so clearly that's going well for them. And you know, you get reset in like those just 2 really awkward times. It doesn't matter who you're playing against. Like it can really get out of hand. So there is always a chance for the likes of Space Soldiers to take this one.
Space Soldiers with absolutely nothing to lose. So if you have someone who doesn't really play the game and you're playing in a major, what do you do with them in 2 days?
Did you
I
have
don't
to
mean in
pick
the
like
game. I mean out of the game. Like what do you try to educate them on in 2 days?
Yeah.
Apart from grenades for setups, I suppose a general ethos as to how to react to things, i.e. peek or fall back or you know. Tough.
It's really tough. Yeah, because you can't. There's just so much like small decision making that goes on. But enough theory for now, because practice is afoot as we have Renegades on that T pistol, charging up middle fearlessly. looking for a fast timing. Then there's 4 players around this position, and they'll spot it. So there'll be some firepower here. Paz will spot it, but he'll get nailed to the wall. Calix wants to go a bit by Graveyard. He gets tagged as well. This is very difficult. Perhaps Space Soldiers will lose their first pistol.
Hardstyle taken up, and that leaves nobody else. That's a very quick one from Renegades. Don't give Space Soldiers time to think, just charge the site, and away you go. That is the start they were looking for. Maybe 4 kills from Azza.
Yeah, I was going to say, maybe it is due to the fact that Hardstyle, with the last Inferno they played, was playing pit, I believe, or playing balcony around the A side at least, from what I recall.
If you look at Azza's photo profile, it looks like he's waiting for you to take your phone and wallet out of your pocket and give it to him. Also, Calix looks like a contract killer in his profile picture. Look at that. That is a man who has got bodies on his name. He's got them teardrops tattooed on his face. Why don't you get a face tattoo then?
That's a great question, James. So that's as far as I can entertain you with a response, I'm afraid. Well, we'll have the push being lined up, perhaps, or perhaps not. At least it feels like way to Space Soldiers. The bomb will be collected by Renegades, and they got the triple Mac 10, so they were, one of the things they're trying to do there is really just pressure away utility of the CTs, because if the CTs are allowed to keep 5 smokes until late round, that's a very big problem, and that's been a commonly understood strategy for CT sides in this situation. Still making it work though. 4 players towards A now. Space Soldiers, dangerous.
So what are Renegades trying to achieve with these smoke grenades? Hardstyle caught grenade in his hand, but a trade is there from Xantares. A 5-7 still good for a headshot. Instant rotation from Xantares. However, he's running on Speedway. Now, Jacob was beyond the sandbag's position, so he may have been close enough to hear that rotation. That is why you sometimes see CTs taking the longer rotation through the CT spawn area rather than Speedway. Anyway, now Renegades going to an empty A bomb site as Major's taken out, as is Paz, soon to follow. Xantares and Calix remain. Xantares has Kevlar, which he may want to consider, but beyond that, it's about trying to get something out of this round. There is another kill, and now he's got a weapon in which he can try to make some bonus money. Calix at the bottom of mid, and Jacob is looking for somebody to be in a funky place.
Whenever I see Paz's name, I always think of Vinny Paz from Jedi Mind Tricks.
Yeah, me too.
I haven't listened to JMT in a while.
Still releasing videos on his YouTube channel of solo projects.
AOTP.
I like, yeah, Army of the Pharaohs. What is that song called? 7? That's like the big one.
Yeah.
That song is absolute bars.
I'd have to go, if I didn't have to sleep immediately after the broadcast, I may listen to some JMT.
I've got degrees in ignorance and weaponry. Brilliant lyrics. I was actually listening to Army of the Pharaohs in the Chinese visa office while I was waiting for my number to be called up.
I was just about to say, it's a great way to pump yourself up, but it's like really excited about queuing, I suppose.
Yeah, big on queuing. Irony, Chinese aren't big on queuing necessarily. Renegades 2-0. Well then, Space Soldiers, as Xantares has he's gifted his 5-7 to Calix because he has the Mac 10. Always something to think about if you steal a weapon away in a round such as this. Your pistol, if not stock, can be more useful to another player if you've got your SMG out, and there goes the SMG. No bonus money for Xantares. No Kevlar for the remaining players of Space Soldiers, 3 of which are on the A-bomb site.
Down goes the smoke. And out go the Renegades. Speaking of music, as Isla gets these frags very patiently. Oh, hello. Paz and Xantares have been quite the nuisances with those pistols. Finally eliminated though. But Calix gets some extra damage in here. Steal something away. 1-on-1 in store if he's quick. But no, Jacob is faster. Right. Yeah, every time I see Renegades now, because of what Alex said on the desk, I'm thinking Renegades of Funk. Rage Against the Machine song. Very awesome.
I'm not
in many
familiar
fragments. Are you
with
not?
the title. I mean, if I heard it, I might know it. But
Yeah, it's very distinctive. You definitely know it.
yeah.
It's an awesome track. Anyway, the real Counter-Strike is about to begin now that both teams have full buys. And we'll see whether Space Soldiers can get off to a good start on the CT side now that they have those M4s in hand. And we'll start to see whether or not Renegades are going to just run normal routines and drills, or whether or not they'll sort of try to target. I think Hardstyle is. He's playing Arch side, which is... Arch side is a good spot for him. It's obviously a rotation position. You're not anchoring anything. So that's a good place to put the stand-in.
Does he have any skins? I don't think he does. Torres backing off. Taking a moment. And Renegades trying to creep in. They're looking for an entry and follow it up. The spray transfer is there. Azza maybe got his bell rung. But he did trade the frag. And now Calix is alone. That's causing a rotation of Hardstyle. And now Paz and Major are getting aggressive in A apartments at the same time, which may be a surprise. Paz moving towards Boiler, and Renegades aren't past just yet, but will they wrap with Azza on Banana?
Nicely done.
Ooh.
Major in from the back, Paz with a timely peek from the Boiler position to finish off JKS, and it's just going incredibly well now here. You're still at last man standing, bomb in no man's land in middle. 35 seconds to try to collect it. That's some time, but maybe there's too many players, too many men here for Yusilo. First hurdle, he will trip at it, and nice stuff from Space Soldiers that, you know, had a really nice movement all over the map.
I mean, the timing was perfect because the last player on mid was carrying the bomb, trying to be safe by falling back, but he got flanked, had no idea that the CTs were moving through apartments. So it was a great active play from Space Soldiers. Okay, we have some problems here. What can we do to try to win the round or have some kind of impact? Well, that's one way to do it. Take the bomb down on mid and then pick off the rest of the players. Nice peek from Paz at the end. And that's Space Soldiers very quickly on the board. But Renegades have a solid buy. The 4 AKs, the AWP. Again, there are easier maps than Inferno to be a T-Orper on. But a map such as this, there can be more value in a post-plant situation should they be able to get that far. Major and Hardstyle now on the arch position, so maybe Hardstyle will be grenade support, but there's a flashbang. So now he may have trouble trying to support a short player, for example. There is a smoke on the balcony as well, and it's still early in this round. And there are now 4 players on the A-bomb site for Space Soldiers.
Yeah, you know, Renegades worked on that top mid's control, sending someone back to keep tabs on Banana to make sure they push. And that's a good start there from Yusilo. JKS with a good follow-up as well, leaving Major in the cubby. Will they expect him to be there? He needs to make a big play here to equalize somehow. And there's a very responsible Molotov, but Major finds a good timing to escape that position. And perhaps they can offer up a defense here, but you start to wonder, with the economy as it is and just winning a round, do they just save as 3? I think that might be the play. Indeed, they call it. This is a great move from Space Soldiers, just full save.
Oh, but the bomb is heading towards the B bomb site. Are they going to invest somebody, Renegades, in actually selling a fake towards this A site? Because maybe Space Soldiers were saving. Maybe they were just gambling to one site. Can Jacob get far enough in time? He's waiting for a rotation. They are committed to this. There's the pop flash. They've gone straight into the stack of the B bomb site. The bomb's on the floor now. There goes Nifty. That is a colossal failure for Renegades. 15 seconds to frag 3 plays essentially for Renegades. The bomb plant won't be enough and probably won't be possible. 10 seconds now, and the coffin's where Calix is.
Oh my
How
God.
about that?
Oh man, that's got to be, that's the round that can tilt you, especially if it happens later into the match. When a round like that happens very early on, it's easier to shake off, but my God, it really looked like Space Soldiers were going to save in my eyes. Or as James said, Scabble stacked to a site, which you don't see very, very commonly. I do think that Major is a great caller, though, and whichever it was a round win, and one that Renegades never expected to be on the end of in that way, and now their economy's broken too, so this is incredible.
When you do see those rare situations where the remainder of CTs, let's say 3 CTs, choose to stack one site, almost always the opponent goes to the other site, so you don't see that scenario happen very, very much. And it's early for Renegades. I don't think they'll be too frustrated. The score is 2-3, so
Yeah,
they can recover from it. they will know that in this situation, at the very least, they are the better team. They can just play solid Counter-Strike, and that should give them the W. That has got to be the mindset from the Renegade players. Torres on the arch position, good for 2. Hardstyle with his own spray, but he can't quite hit the mark there. So rifles can be collected, and JKS is in for the split, but he's got a pistol. As they're taken down now, Jacob's got the bomb and an M4. And now the Renegades team are on the floor, 3-3.
Yeah. I think one important thing, going to your point there, is that when you have things, like this, I think if you're a seasoned Counter-Strike player, one thing you have to be good at knowing how to deal with is if something crazy goes wrong, because it just happens in Counter-Strike, and it doesn't matter how you expected to, like if you expected to win the round, like what the expectation was, or how big a mistake there was. It just doesn't matter. Like it just happens. So you just have to accept it straight away that it's happened, because that allows you to just let go of it more quickly. And now we're back into a buy hit for Renegades. It's time for them to remedy the previous mistake. And they had a pretty methodical way to open up that round. They created good advantages. It looked like something that they can run with consistency. So they'll have to just go back to that, running the default. Space Soldiers will be seemingly happy to challenge for Banana, maybe. At least making Renegades really work for it, at least.
Flashbang from the CTs, perhaps in case of a fast play from the Ts, because there was no peek behind it. Now we've got the burst top mid from Renegades. 1 minute mark, and Space Soldiers have no info. Okay then, essentially 2 frags for Torres, 1 by way of team kill. I was going to say they had no information. And if Renegades can establish that situation and force the CTs back round after round, it's going to be really hard for Space Soldiers to react in time. But Torres takes matters into his own hands. Now, do Renegades think that the CTs think that Renegades have to go towards A? Do they play against that? Because even if that's the case, there's still risk if they think Space Soldiers will have a solid defense. Hard to know what to do if you're Renegades right now.
2 men on the bomb side here for Space Soldiers. Hardstyle still playing rotation, just watching for anyone wrapping onto the A side from Arch. Very safe position. It's down to Major on the side with Paz to make this defense work. That's a beautiful snap to start things off here for Major. And he's going to bait shots around the side. Paz comes out and they will crush this surely. And indeed, Hardstyle pops out the library side. That was a great play on the side from Major. You got to give it to him.
Man like Hardstyle with the final frag. You can see him looking around in spawn in case anybody needs a drop. That is just, they lined up exactly. Talk about queuing. They were queuing to eat steel. And that Space Soldiers in the lead. 4 rounds in a row now for Space Soldiers. And there is no bomb plant in those rounds, which suggests that the success Renegades are having in these rounds is quite limited.
Yeah, one of the things that can really kill you from the mental, if we talk about the mental game, when you're in a position like Renegades are in this matchup, is that there is this huge looming expectation, even subconsciously, that you should win this game, and that the other team, if they're starting to do well, you start to think, oh my god, we're like such, what do you call someone that's favored to win a game, James? The opposite of an underdog.
A heavy dog.
Yeah, there you go. So we're so much in this favorable
position. A giant dog.
An enormous dog.
A Saint Bernard.
That when things start to go wrong, it like really
a heavy dog's a heavy
pressure.
underdog, isn't it? It's just another.
Yeah, I would have imagined.
I'm an idiot.
So, that's cool. I was going with it.
I'm not a betting man. I don't really know these terms.
Yeah, you said it with confidence, so everyone was fooled at least. So I was just rolling with that. So
an overdog, a dog, on the first floor.
Okay, great. Okay, can use some work. We'll get there. But yeah, I think a pause like this is good for Renegades. Just get on the same page. Make sure that there's no sort of weird emotions festering anywhere. Just focus people with a game plan, and keep them in on the round to round type mentality. Because Space Soldiers, they have nothing to lose. They are like Calyx, Major, Xantares, and Paz are incredibly good. They are very good players. So that you can't ever look at this matchup as a one match. Not to say that Renegades are, but it's obviously something that is a consideration. And so when things start to go wrong, it can be extra frustrating when you're up against them. And obviously this is an elimination match too. So there's added pressure there as well.
Yes, the loser goes home. The loser goes home. And indeed, I think that because Renegades, everyone will expect that this should be a 100% win. That can play against them as well, depending on your mental psyche. I can't speak to theirs, but as things continue, you do start to wonder if Space Soldiers are able to pull away or something like that, if it will cause a problem. We have an average of $3,000 on the Renegade side for this round, as you can see. They are heading towards maximum loss bonus should they lose this round. Unpause has come in and we'll be back into the game soon, it seems. Oh, someone said not live. Okay, so we'll see what's going on soon. Well, I want to see Hardstyle get an MVP star. Someone's having a sound issue at the moment. That will be with the inners, I presume. So hopefully that will get sorted out soon.
It is. So this is, I mean, we can't, obviously right now it looks pretty good for Space Soldiers and they're playing really well. But one thing we have to think about is how compromised their setups and limited their setups are going to be. So if you look at that last round, Hardstyle's playing a really safe position where he won't die. He's playing a position where he's, looking in from CT spawn through to the arch side. And what that means is that, if he can spot contact and easily disengage and just make sure that they can't go through CT spawn, because that makes things very chaotic. And so what that means is that he's not able to necessarily play support with the two players on the site, which means that the two players on the site, which in this case is Paz and Major, they're limited in some of the setups that they can play effectively. So we saw them stuck on the site. And it was actually a very awkward defense that could absolutely have gone wrong, if not for the fact that Major and Paz played incredibly well.
Yeah, I think that's got to be one of the goals or relative goals for both teams. For Space Soldiers, they need to not have Hardstyle get picked off early in a round where their defenses are stretched out, because you see him playing passive in Arch in CT spawn more or less. That gives information at least to the rest of his players. But if he's not there, if he's fragged, then they don't have that information. And Renegades want to deny the information. Because they don't have their full team Space Soldiers, if Renegades can force them off Banana, if they can force them off of top mid, then it's harder. Like if Space Soldiers want to make an aggressive play or a pop flash play, it's harder to do it in some situations because they don't have their full players there and the full capability to get the frags in those aggressive plays. So I think that's got to be the main goal every round for Renegades.
Yeah, there's definitely some really good solutions. And
the thing is though, right?
Points.
We're only 7 rounds. Only 7 rounds have passed.
Yeah.
So there's still a hell of a lot of rounds for Renegades to play with that, and that's going to be hard. And eventually that band will snap. Surely for Space Soldiers as the band holding them all together at the moment.
I just realised it's cleared my throat, and I have a cough button. I could have pressed it.
So yeah, I coughed into the
guys.
microphone in the previous match. I was like, why have I just done this?
Yeah, I just need to broadcast this. Excuse me.
Last time you were here, I was pressing your cough button when
Yeah.
I was clearing my throat. At least I'm not doing that.
Yeah, that was great. So I'd be like commentating some play-by-play. You mute that so that everyone could just hear you cough, basically.
Yeah.
That was
My
pretty
coughs
good.
are very important. I'm speaking in code.
Yeah, that was pretty good. That happened consistently too, like maybe more than 3 times, at least between 3 and 5, I would say. Anyway, I do think that Renegade. I don't know. I don't want to predict this really. I don't want to go there.
Okay, we have a re-login, I would assume, if the phones are out. The Steam confirmation codes.
Indeed. What do you think about the Renegades project? Obviously, I forget. I think it's Pimp that said basically he expects there to be changes after the major, and of course that would tend to be the intelligent time to make a change for a team if it needs one.
How many changes have we seen? I think it's been a very long time where Renegades are one of the teams in the category of perennial underachievers. We know they have the talent to do more and do better than they are doing. It's similar to the story with North for a while as well. In terms of consistency, we know, like even when they will have a deeper run and so on, it's not always tournament after tournament after tournament, and I think that's been the case for Renegades. I mean, we've seen them from the Oceanic days, and they've always had the talent on their team, the skill on their team, but they just can't get as far as they want to. So if you say changes, I mean, what changes would you make?
Well, I think that, you know,
like what is lacking? What is what is missing?
Well, I think that it's with something that's you know, been going on for so long, it can be difficult sometimes to even nail it down as to what is exactly, you know, it's something systemic likely, but it's hard to pinpoint what it is. But if it goes on for too long and you don't have any way to shake up the system, I think North are a good example insofar as they, in the last 3 months, were able to shake up their system entirely. And they are looking like they're on a really good path now, and a lot of the hard work is really coming to fruition. And you know, if you're unable to do that, then perhaps trying to pick players and, you know, pick an Azure and pick a JKS, you know, put them into systems, different systems. You know, that might be
that's what I'm thinking.
The key
like
to this.
If they had a sixth man who could come and give them a new framework and a different identity, like when Threat was on Ninjas in Pajamas and they were becoming more aggressive, less predictable, and so on, and kind of morphing into something other than what we're used to seeing. I think they need the same thing on their side.
Yeah, and of course, you know, these are all mostly players that have been playing together for a very long time, or from, you know, the Oceanic region as well. So it gets to a point when, you know, it's like, okay, how long do you have to play with each other? And is it just we're just used to failing together, or, you know, do you want something to freshen it up? You know, some teams are criticized for finding solutions in changing players too soon, but there are some instances where it is the best way to do it, and growth is limited by not making a change as well for the individuals who are on the team. But we'll see what ends up being the solution. Probably not too far away from seeing what the next play is for them as a team. But I think we will want to see what those players. We know that all those players are very good individually and could be so great, and I think that's why they get so much criticism.
So I understand that a PC is or was being rebooted, but everyone's on the server at the moment, so hopefully we will be continuing sooner rather than later. I'm very curious to see well, I'm curious to see actually two things. I was going to say one, but two. I was curious to see how Space Soldiers will continue to implement or protect Hardstyle on the CT side, but also how do they choose to use him on the T side? Like if they are trying to play the numbers game towards the site, for example, is he the person who's going to be swinging wide to take the fire as the first guy? Because in their previous match, I feel like he was the last or the second last guy in the site, but I feel like you want your anchors more there, and I'd put him at the front instead so we can just take all the bullets and then let the team clean up. I know that makes more sense to me. It kind of reminds me of when I used to play football in school, and there was like the large slow kid would always get picked last, right? And then whatever team he ended up on, they would put him in defense. But the thing is, it's like then your defense is going to get broken all the time. You're going to lose. You put the guy up front where he can have the least negative impact for your side. So I would always put that guy up front. He has more fun. No one rages at him because we have a proper defense, and then oftentimes we would win. So I think like in scenarios where they're going to have a player swing wide, I mean, he's still got a weapon, right? So he can go shooting, but also he can draw the attention, and then perhaps that will be a better approach for Space Soldiers in those situations.
Can be difficult too, because sometimes you need that first player to make the instant entry, or create a situation where there is a very fast frag and the other player can't have a time to reposition or spray down. And what if it's like a situation where the spacing's very close and that first player kind of blocks the second player, and so on and so forth? There's lots of factors to consider. It's definitely a conundrum. They have a good start, at least. They managed to engineer that.
Okay, we're going to go to a short break because it may be around 5 minutes. That's not a UK 5 minutes, which could be 50 minutes, but actual 5 minutes, as I believe a server needs to be restarted and the round restored. So bear with us. We'll be back shortly with the continuation of Space Soldiers and Renegades on Inferno. Welcome back to the FACEIT Major. Why did I say we will definitely be back in 5 minutes?
Because
for something that's completely out of my control.
It's because you hate yourself and you are punishing yourself.
I have let down my audience, our audience, and I've misled them.
And most important,
and I sincerely apologise.
Most importantly, James, you've let down yourself, which is the worst thing of all.
I have shamed the Bardolph name.
Yeah.
So I sincerely ever so sincerely apologise. So everything has been, apparently everything is in its right place. It was a little longer just to make sure everything's good and technical things are fixed, and indeed they have been, so we will soon be into this game of Inferno.
Hope you guys got some tea during that technical break. I think,
what kind of tea? Can't just leave it at tea.
Any kind of
loose
tea,
tea,
really,
fruity tea, flavoured crappy tea.
Wow. There's all kinds of different tea, James.
Yorkshire
I mean,
tea.
you have to be versatile. Tea is an emotional thing, James. You can't go in with a plan. You have a collection of teas. You walk up in front of it, and you let your feelings decide.
I have an outstanding collection of tea. The only things that I have in my kitchen are tea and pepper. That's it. I don't have any food.
The thing is, you
ice.
don't cook, so I don't know what you. I'm sure I'm probably using your pepper more than you.
I have tonic water, but no gin. There's not a whole lot going on.
Yeah,
and I have
you're missing a lot of pieces to these various puzzles.
I have this really intricate, beautiful teacup. I've never used it, and it was very expensive.
You should be on that show that used to run on the TV, which was a cooking show. They just give you random ingredients, and you gotta just gotta go.
But when I was at Beyond the Summit, they gave me random items of American food to try because I was so shocked at what is that breadless thing called again? I mean the bread thing without the end. What do you call the edge of the bread?
They're crustables.
Uncrustables.
Crustables.
Yeah, that's
Crustables,
like you can freeze them and stuff. Like, who freezes bread? That's not normal.
Well, you do freeze bread because then you stop it going moldy. So if you have a lot of bread, too much to eat within a good few days, you freeze the rest. And then you.
Do people actually do that?
Yeah, you defrost it with a toaster. You are James.
Do people freeze bread?
Yes. Yes,
really?
They do. Yeah. Yeah, they do. There's
I just don't know why I would freeze bread. Like,
I think there's two things going on here. I think firstly, three things. Okay, four things. Firstly, you're James Bardell. That's one important factor to remember.
Massive factor.
The second thing, you're not very domesticated. Or too much of an enthusiast.
Well, you're saying I'm a feral human being?
Yes. Well,
I
guess that and point one are somewhat connected. Point three, you've lived in the city, right, where bread is easily accessible to you at all times to your convenience, a short walk away at a convenience store, corner shop, whatever. Whereas if let's say you live in the countryside, maybe going to the shops is a drive. And so maybe if you live in the countryside, probably have a bigger house. So you're gonna have a big old freezer. You can store food in that freezer, such as bread. You don't want to go to the bread shop every 3 minutes.
People in France go to the bread shop every morning.
Also known as a bakery. Don't also call it a bread shop. It's a bakery.
If you're
they call it patisserie?
I'm sure the French are outraged. There must be some French people who are watching who are completely outraged and are with me and are like, why would you freeze bread? I've never considered putting bread in the freezer. It just seems alien to me.
Well, okay, so one thing about freezing things. Also, you can... Well, I learned this from Threat. When Threat came over to do a season with us, he told me about... I was like, yeah, I was washing my jeans. And he looked at me, he's like, you wash your jeans? You savage. Or you don't have to wash jeans after about 4 days. They'll never accumulate more bacteria. And what you do is you just freeze them. You freeze the jeans and that washes them. And I was like, what are you talking about? This can't be a thing.
That's crazy, man.
I Googled it and it's actually a thing. You freeze your jeans to wash it. I haven't reached that.
Is that to kill the bacteria, basically, or?
I don't know.
I could generate all kinds of bacteria, man. 4 days won't stop me. I'll be generating bacteria for weeks, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't put bread or jeans in a freezer. But I don't know. Like, I'm telling you, man. If you're in France, like, you go to the bakery, get a baguette, sit on a table, have some butter, honey, whatever else you want, jam if you like, or obviously the Nutella. But I mean, I don't know. I go through when I get bread, I go through that bread pretty solidly because I'm big on the honey.
You said Nutella like with a French accent. I know it's big over there, but we can't really make it sound fancy. I mean, not dissing Nutella, but it's basically 20% chocolate. Like, it's mostly fake.
But isn't that like almost everything you buy that's processed of any kind?
Yeah, but they've done a really good job because I really like Nutella as well. But it is just. It's not even really chocolate, is it? At what percentage does it not become chocolate?
It's Nutella. It's Nutella. It's Nutella.
I mean, just something to consider. Look up what's actually in stuff. It's always educational.
For those of you in London, there's a French creperie by South Kensington Station kind of up to Exhibition Road.
Oh, that
And it
one,
used
yeah.
to be a really small store, and I used to go there all the time.
Kensington Creperie.
And yeah, and once they were doing the world record for the most crepes in 24 hours, but the cooking plate for the crepes is right in front of the door. And this was in winter, so you'd open the door, and the cold breeze would like cool down the crepes. So you have to go in, open the door, close the door really quickly. But now it's a...
Isn't it crepe and not crepe?
I don't know what it is, man. I think it's crepe. And now it's like this giant creperie, and it's... yeah.
Okay, tweet James what the correct pronunciation of crepe is. I'm fairly
How
sure
do you
it's
tweet
crepe.
to pronounce it? I guess phonetic. How do you do that for French? I don't know. I'll be interested to see
You can do it phonetically, yes.
how you guys go. Okay, how would you phonetically write crepe?
Well, for me, if I'm saying it crepe, then I do it with the syllables that will phonetically. I mean, that's how you spell things phonetically.
And what are they?
I don't want to. Why are you making me go through the process?
Yeah, see?
I'll tweet you.
You're all taught. You're gonna tweet me.
Yeah, let me tweet you. See now look what you've done. Look, this is. I want you to know that this is your fault.
Do I have to look at your tweet now? Is that what I have to do?
I haven't done it yet, so you have to wait. But you've done this. This is your fault. I want you to remember that.
Level nerddom.
Now you're Yeah. Okay. Let's see how should I do this.
So this is taking a little longer than we expected, but we have good music, so it's not so bad.
I don't know how to. I'm not very good at phonetic spelling. I do admit.
This is See, you're trying to you tried to give off like, oh, it's easy. Of course, well, you just do it phonetically,
Okay,
wouldn't you?
I did it.
Yeah.
It's done now.
Okay.
Have you used the dot in front of your at?
Bum. Sorry, I've a few replies.
This is I mean, I did my best job.
Scrolling through the replies.
And you're very popular as well.
Did you actually tweet me?
Yeah,
Because I don't have a... hold on.
I think the internet is a bit dodgy. I think.
It's not dodgy. Crepe. Okay, that's the way you're saying it.
Yeah.
That's not the way I'm saying it, though, is
No,
it?
but that's not. That's the
But I'm
point.
saying
The point is that I'm trying to. I think that's the correct way. So.
Okay.
And you just said, how can you
Shut
tweet
up.
someone a pronunciation? And so now you just read my pronunciation.
That's true, actually.
So-
You got me there.
So you're having problems, James.
Do
What do you need?
do people really buy big amounts of bread and put them in the freezer?
Well, if you live in the countryside, then sure. Like you want to go to shops every 5 minutes, and also, or if you're going to go out of town, right? You don't want to throw the bread away.
So
Put it in the freezer. That's wasteful. Are you a wasteful person, James?
we have
You're a wastrel.
We have a response from Norway from a lady called Perth.
Yeah.
With an E on the end. I freeze bread because I eat gluten-free bread and it don't hold so well long.
That's a really good point. Some bread goes moldy really quickly. That's a good point.
There's also malt bread, like saurine.
Yeah.
I quite like it, but if I eat a lot of it, it kind of got to batter a toilet afterwards. So I don't eat it anymore. But, I've got fond memories.
Producer
Gotta
Nicholas
respect
just
your
said
stomach.
he froze his tennis racket.
He says a lot of things. I don't believe half the things he says. What is he saying? I can hear mumbling.
He said, so I can play with it in the future. He's full of nonsense, James. I think he's trying to be...
He is an idiot.
Yeah, he's right.
Okay, so the game is being recreated if you're wondering what's going on. I'm not sure exactly what the technical thing is, but I'd rather they focus on sorting it out than explaining it to me. We can see, so this is our game feed. This just shows us the Observer PC, and then these are our program feeds.
You've
so we can
ruined
see
the magic
ourselves.
now. This could have been anything. It could have been like a ferret cage behind there.
A ferret
There could have been ferrets in there.
You could, you could still have ferrets
but
in
now
front of
everyone
the
knows.
screen.
Now everyone just knows. It's the magic of television ruined by James Bardolph.
Well, not really, because the screen can still be functional, and you can still have your ferrets in front of the screen.
Well,
Because that's what you said, it's in front of the
yeah,
screen.
but there's very limited real estate there, isn't there?
You could get really small ferrets.
Because we have this here. We've got this.
Oh,
here.
please don't do that.
It's, I mean, whilst we're ruining the magic television.
Yeah, but
it's our, like, commentator box.
Let's not destroy the functionality of the studio.
It's okay. Everything's still connected. It's
Although-
fine. I'm professional. I have a mixer at home.
You turned knobs before.
It's fine. I'm professional. Audio engineering is really difficult. Actually, it's like super complex. Same with like lighting. Every small detail to anything production related is like so incredibly complex. You'd be very surprised, or maybe you wouldn't be if you'd put 5 seconds of thought into it. But everything's pretty complex. Like lighting, for example, very hard to do.
I'm actually fascinated by audio engineering. I want to study it at some point just because I think it's really cool, and I like playing with like mixes.
Yeah.
Because I used to do a lot of productions myself. I'm used to setting it up to a reasonable level, but not like a great level. So I'd like to learn about audio engineering because the managing of sound is brilliant.
Yeah,
So like, I think a great example is, I don't know if any of you people out there are watch nerds, but there's a channel on YouTube called Watchfinder, and the audio on that channel is so spot on. It's just like, I really would love to just achieve this level of audio, regardless of what it's for, just because I like doing things.
That's actually, to me, like I think with like, if you're a streamer or something, I think the easiest and the most important sign for quality or high quality is the audio, because you know, you're talking so much, and when people can hear the audio and it sounds like really crisp and very like deep and just very clear and nice, that just, I mean, you're just attracted to that as a viewer, I find personally. So I always thought that if you're a streamer, that's the one thing you should really invest in, if nothing else. Although then you have to like learn some basics of how to set it up so it doesn't sound terrible.
Although people are buying the wrong kind of microphone, right? Like the Yetis and so on, which is not necessarily the most appropriate tool for the job, but it's kind of the go-to recommendation on a basic level.
It's because it's I think it's just because it's like a USB. You can have, I mean, there is an XLR version of it.
Plug and play.
Yeah, but I think the USB like dynamic mic, condenser mics are kind of really popular for some reason.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if you get a nice
So we have
XLR
some big
mic,
ass Shure mics.
yeah, that's like the Shure 7 SMB. Is that right? Yeah, Shure 7 SMB, SMB7, whichever. It's like the go-to sort of radio broadcasting standard. But it's so meaty as a dynamic microphone. You need to power it. So you need to then buy something that's like £300 to power it, because you can't just use phantom power. So
I like that. I saw a clip from Joe Rogan's podcast place, and he has basically his microphone on a swinging arm. So if he leans back or something, he can just swing the microphone so it's still close, which is really cool.
Yeah, he uses the same microphone, I believe. It's the Shure.
I actually have
SM7B.
I've got my computers are on a crappy table, and I don't know how, but because I have like a G clamp, which my microphone is on, but I think I tightened it too much and it went through the bottom of the table. So now I have like the base of a keyboard to try and make it flat again, and then that's hanging. It's just a complete mess. I need to buy a new table. I destroyed the table basically.
Well, at least you know, your table, you know, actually worked.
Oh yes, we told that story.
We did, yeah. My electric table story. Eventually, I'll have this set up. Eventually I'll get there. Tweet us pictures of your setups if you'd like.
Yeah, it's always nice to see how people are watching the major.
It's awesome, yeah. That was actually one of my favorite things in the Quake days. I mean, Quake is like very like highly configurable. So you'd have these threads sometimes where it's like share your setup, and because everyone's setup could look different, like the level of graphics, details, like the crosshairs, just everything can be like vastly different. So it'd be really cool just like looking through all these pictures of like how people set up their stuff. It's really fun. So yeah, feel free to do that if you've got a fancy setup. Some people, you know, I think it's really cool when you're someone that really takes a lot of pride in like what you've tried to select, and there's like a reason behind everything. And so it's like really cool to see what some people come up with, because some people take a lot of time, and it's really, I'm always, you know, very impressed by that. I try to do that too, but one thing I really fail at, James, is cable management. That's my weakness.
I don't even try. I try and separate the power from the audio on the floor, because then it can cause interference. But apart from that, whatever.
The interference, oh my god, it's so annoying. Audio interference, because there's like so many different types of interference, right? Like I think can't you even get like magnetic interference as well?
Probably.
Like analog interference, digital interference.
Magnets cause all kinds of problems.
All kinds of different types of interference. Yeah. Audio's tough.
We're almost there, people. We are almost there. Quick update. I just got back on the server, and these guys are on the server as well. So all the players are moving around. So.
We haven't done a long fill session for a while, James. It's been
that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Although people enjoy listening to us talk nonsense. I remember, I want to say it was MLG Columbus where we met a husband and wife team, and the guy said that my wife lets me listen to more Counter-Strike because she likes listening to you guys talk nonsense in the American broadcast, which was pretty cool. That was quite something.
Master Counter-Strike is like some just inane random podcast type thing going on, I guess.
Yeah, basically, just kind of switching to it. Okay, I'm looking. There's a 30-second thing on the screen, but we'll see.
We have a lot of. This is really cool. Usually, I'm like scrambling to find cue cards, but they gave us a lot of cue cards here.
They did. So we have some notes for call-outs and things. I mean, a host may have they may make their own mini rundown of what they're going to go through the segments and so on. For us, it's call-outs that we do. at the beginning of every match. And if there's a note somebody wants to pass to us without disturbing us too much while we are live, then they might just slip in and give us a card. This one's blank, but others have pen on.
They have pen on.
Did you see there's a Lamborghini, a white Lamborghini, where somebody commissioned an artist to draw on it with only a Sharpie, like a mural over the whole thing.
Oh, wow.
It's amazing. It's amazing. So it's a guy who, like, I think he took over some car place in Miami, took it over from his dad. And I was like, it's like when you have a manager come into an office and they just make everything look different. Look how it's a very common thing. Like, look how much I'm doing, and I'm doing all this stuff.
Yeah.
I've moved this table from here to there.
Feng
So
Shui,
it's like
game one.
One of those things. I think the round has been restored.
Is it Feng Shui? No.
Feng Shui is just making everything
I guess that is one
aesthetically pleasing, and boom, it seems that we are back into the match. Thank you very much for your patience. The score is 4-3 in favor of Space Soldiers. After losing the pistol round, they have won 4 rounds in a row, and maybe this break is a nice reset for Renegades, who I'm sure felt a little frustrated. It's almost like starting anew, one would imagine. We've got the 4 CZs out for Renegades. That is an eco round for them. If they lose this round, which they probably should, they will be headed to maximum loss bonus. That means they can invest a little more into this round than they otherwise might. Hence the Kevlar, JKS even going for helmets.
Yes. Renegades just charging up now, the Glocks in hands, and CZs, well, actually just CZs. And they will now not have anything in their hands, as they are just laying upon the floor. It's not a very productive position, but they'll have to assume that until the next round, which will be now. Always good to see a fast anti-eco rounds. I'm not entertained by these eco rounds, James. I'm unentertained. Entertained? It's been a long day.
Entertainedless.
It's been a long day, and that definitely excuses me for my inability to speak. Although I don't know if there really is an excuse, considering that it's kind of the job. So never mind. 5-3. Space Soldiers, certainly the underdog with their current context. I was playing with a stand-in who has limited Counter-Strike experience at best, but they are doing a valiant job so far, and we'll see Renegades now running a default again. They've had a lot of time to just chill out and cool down from some of the previous failures on their T side, and from what they've shown us, their defaults do develop well and consistently into advantages, so they should be able to get back on the board pretty soon. Space Soldiers still harassing Banana, making sure that Renegades work for it if they are to take it.
Hardstyle still over towards that arch position. As the smoke starts to dissipate, I wonder if he will be targeted. Yustillo is close. And I guess Renegades by now know roughly where people are playing. There's Yustillo blind, and he's gone. Almost a 2-man for Paz, but the one he'll have to settle, as you see. Now, if that was a different player, would he try to get something sneaky in there? I don't know, but Hardstyle's backing off, and Xantares and Calix were ready for the full rotation, but as things start to calm down, they fall back towards B, and that's what I'm talking about. Hardstyle being alive is information that Space Soldiers can try to play off of. Oh, he's moving back, and he rings the bell, but through the wall perhaps, because Az has got 60 HP left. And now they can try to wrap towards B.
And Xantares has to turn his attention to the back, and if he can find this frag quickly, that is huge. Az just needs to stay alive whilst his teammates come in, so Xantares is occupied, and Xantares will quickly advance around as Calix is put to work with the AK-47. He does a great job, actually. Only one for Xantares to clean up, and now Azza, who was just trying to guard against rotation and create threat, he has to clutch it, 1 versus 2. The bomb is down on the floor, and there's very little time here, and he knows it. He has to dive through the smoke. Xantares and Paz getting it done with the help of Calix on that B-bomb site. And Renegades, again, they had a great opportunity in that round to take it, but Space Soldiers, they're proving to be quite resilient. Their money is also out of control.
Yeah, but, I mean, there are still 5 rounds to fight for in this half, and I do think that Renegades still needs to glean information as to how Space Soldiers are implementing Hardstyle and what they can do about it. But they've got good money. There is a tactical timeout here from Renegades. They've mostly got 4,000 and above. Jacob's a bit short, so we'll soon see what they choose to do. But for me, I think it's like, let's get an early advantage by targeting Hardstyle. But now Space Soldiers have that information as well, right? They know that Renegades have seen Hardstyle alone towards Arch. Do they put a second player there? Do they rotate him? Time will tell. Pistols for Renegades. Do Space Soldiers recognize the likelihood of this? It is 6 rounds in a row now for Space Soldiers.
it's actually looking, they are looking really, really on point at the moment, I gotta say. Torres, FACEIT Major, and Calix really have some fire to their step in this matchup, and they'll make it as hard as physically possible for Renegades to somehow find their way into victory. And right now that seems so far away, especially now they're just brandishing pistols, but the balcony pop has been pretty reliable for a lot of teams. Paz expectant of this. Quick incendiary to slow things down. He also put down a defensive smoke. That should be helpful as they now try to dive in and pressure his position. Very difficult for Paz here. How much can he get done? My goodness, Justillo finds himself a headshot somehow.
That was not supposed to happen. Hardstyle trying to rotate onto the side to support Major. Takes one in a dome in the meantime. Major's on his own. Calix and Xantares in that arch area. Cancel the crossfire, and the Eagles continue. Not like this, surely. This is not the round Renegades were supposed to win. There's so many smokes, so much variance around that pit position. And Renegades win with 4 players alive. That was an eco round. That was a half buy.
Yeah, and that's problematic too, because, you know, okay, if they win that round, you know, sure. But, you know, if they survive with that many players, they effectively have 2 buys in the hole now. So Space Soldier's ability to reset them straight away is not really there. But they have a huge bank themselves, so double up comes out from Calix and Paz into this next round. And it would be great to see some aggression from Space Soldiers. They've been fairly passive mostly in this game so far, and Paz is going to go for a, well, not a deep angle. Fairly passive to begin with. We commonly see this boost, which we'll deal with. It's a double peek, a strong double peek if the CTs are to try to push quickly down Banana, but that will not be the case. Double Ops has Space Soldiers wanting to play at range.
Now, we can see that Paz has taken up the reins on Arch, and Hardstyle is playing outside of the graveyard position / on the site. So they are rotating his position, and indeed, as I keep going on about, I do think that is something that is important for them to do. 2 players towards Arch now, so it seems that Space Soldiers, I mean, they've often rotated a 4th player towards A, as teams often do. But I think they are anticipating Renegades heading towards Arch. But for now, Calix, I was going to say has some action, but indeed, they are just trying to bait Space Soldiers towards the B bomb site. So they boost over this Arch smoke. Not a common one. Xantares will stay in the corner. Paz going back to the site. JKS lurking in the balcony. Towards the balcony, rather. Here we go. It seems Renegades are dead set on the A bomb site, and 4 CTs lie in wait.
Major looking to act on the pit. Paz kicking things off quite well here, and Major able to slow the shadow down. Only good for 1, however. Hardstyle alone in the bomb site now. Paz needs to help him out here with that AWP. Good juking coming in from Jacob as Hardstyle now is against too many man. That's just stuck in my head right now. Calix on the 1v3. I don't know that he wants to go for this.
Major has 7,400. Hardstyle's got no money. Paz has got no money. That means that Calix has to hold on to this weapon. He needs to back off. Maybe he was aiming to fall off with an easy-ish frag. It's unfortunate for Space Soldiers. I think Hardstyle was in a position to stop a default plant if desperation came in, but the bomb was in the middle of the A bomb site, and it didn't quite work out there for Space Soldiers. So those are 2 expensive rounds for them. And obviously, they do need to rack up the rounds here on this CT side to make life easier on the T side, but maybe life will be easier in general on the T side. It's hard to say, but we will soon find out. Round number 5 for Renegade, 2nd in a row.
So some breaking news here, James. Because we are warriors against misinformation.
Okay.
Right, so, although I suppose we probably spread more than we... Either way, apparently I got tweeted from Alan Brown. Freezing jeans to clean. It's not only a myth, it's gross.
Well, if you put jeans in the freezer, it's not a myth because your jeans are in the freezer.
Well, the fact that
cleaning them.
Well, the fact
perhaps.
that it's supposedly supposed to in some way clean them, which does sound.
I mean, I guess on a basic level, in like a warm, moist environment, bacteria can thrive. So I guess they're like, well, what if we do the opposite? Maybe it doesn't quite work out, but sometimes placebo is enough. 2 AWPs for Space Soldiers.
Don't heavy up placebo.
As we continue here on Inferno, Xantares and Calix at the top of Banana, Hardstyle and Paz towards Arch. What will the approach be towards Banana? The late Molotov, Xantares having a look, really wants to use his skill to give his team an early advantage, and they need one. Hardstyle only with the CZ. Jacob's lost half his life as 3 players establish control of Banana for Renegades.
I wonder if there was info from the peak as Torres calling this logs, because I saw Calyx trying to wallbang that with that AWP straight away afterwards. That would be really cool. But Renegades mostly untouched in this round. I need Jacob to take anything damage. 1 minute to go, and this is ideal for Renegades, this default. They've got top mid control, they've got banana control as well. That puts Space Soldiers in a position where they have zero information on the map. They do not know what Renegades are up to or what is possible. They are just sitting and relying on Calyx here. The flashbang is pretty strong. He has to fall back, and a frag towards A. This is horribly confusing for Space Soldiers.
35 seconds left. Can they make it hard here for Renegades? JK is lurking towards the A site, and Azza and Yusilo instantly start rotating, and it seems the rest of Renegades will as well. Now, Space Soldiers have essentially stacked the B bomb site. Once that bomb is plantarized, I do not expect a rotation. 5 plays alive for Renegades, and it would be a big save. Jacob knows this as well, so he will stay towards B and offer some containment. And I do expect the hunt to begin for Renegades. Try and take all the toys away for Space Soldiers. As they're moving up, Bananas to join Jacob. Just taken up before Torres can fire the shot. That's a fair confirmation. 2 of the 3 players known. Well then, 6-6. I mean, for a reasonable chance in the second half, it's not... I mean, we can't really say too accurately, but how many rounds do you think Space Soldiers need?
They need every round, James.
I think that's a good answer, to be honest.
I think, so what is interesting is that Space Soldiers were able to get so many rounds despite losing the pistol. And I don't know if I expect them to get any rounds from this point, just because, again, this last round gone was a very good example of exactly what I expected to see consistently out of Renegades. It's this default where you take map control away, you take banana, you take top mid, and then at that point, you've starved your opponent of any information. And so it creates huge possibilities for you to toy with them, to fake, to create picks, all kinds of stuff, because they're pressured to go for risks. And that's a consistent way to get advantages on the T side. And that's what Renegades get for being the team that does not have the standard and the team that has a lot of experience. So they can just keep doing that.
Space Soldiers still with a buy. Hardstyle's got an upgrade from a CZ to an MP9. Got that moving accuracy, and he is over towards the arch position on his own. The 4.5-man default here for Space Soldiers, if you will. Charging out, and Torres pulls this gun out just in time, but a flying JK as the parkour will maybe help him save. Hardstyle really going for it, Hardstyle, and he will be absolutely denied. And that is the round for Renegades. It's a quick one.
Yeah, it's you can see that they've definitely found themselves after. I mean, this is the crazy thing, is that after the pistol victory, you would have expected that they should be able to take 12 rounds, around, or if not more, against Space Soldiers. But I think the quality of Space Soldiers. They had that first win. I believe it was a very confusing round for Renegades, where there was a lot of pushing. I think it was FACEIT Major who managed to push into second mid and get a flank on, and then the falling rounds were just Space Soldiers leveraging their individual skill, then picking up the anti-ecos. Renegades are the team here, and there's no mistaking that. The question really is it easier or harder for Space Soldiers on the T-half? I actually would think it'd be easier for them on the T-half with the stand-in.
Yeah, I do wonder. Again, it's about, I think it's about how you choose to implement the man on both sides. Tactical timeout from Space Soldiers. Again, trying to protect him on a CT side, and I think they've done a reasonable job. However, Renegades seem to have found the key to the puzzle with 4 rounds in a row now.
Yeah, I just think that he is unfortunately with his current situation, he's very limiting on the setups that Space Soldiers can run and some of the risks that they can take. But in that T side, you don't really have to worry about it. You can just say, well, you know what, Torres and FACEIT Major, you guys just do your thing, open up the rounds in the ways in which you want to, and Hardstyle can just be very supportive.
Yeah, but it's weird because depending on what part of the round you're in, that support role can be very important as well. I wouldn't say that you could necessarily have him lurking, for example.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, maybe he throws the initial grenades for you to move in with, or at least set up some smoke grenades. But then, I don't know, just run boost him every round.
Yeah, and also...
and then charge out as he flies across the screen, taking all the fire.
And also, you can't afford actually like a missed flash, because then that's an ult frag maybe for the other team on an entry and stuff like that. So it does get complicated. In a professional match, you need to know all the lineups.
Space Soldier still managing to get buys out, despite losing these consecutive rounds. Saves oh so important. And now, Renegades getting a lot of control early on Banana. And this has been a common occurrence, to establish control here and then have a focus towards that A bomb site. But it seems to want to deny information. Hardstyle moving towards the top of mid. Ooh, how about this for a response? Well, let's take the game away from Renegades. CTs won't even invest behind it just in case, and Jacob is boosted up, and here's another grenade. Calix starting to walk in, and Jacob looks down at the wrong time, jumps up, and that timing is horrible for him. But how could he know?
Yeah, that's really cool to see from Calix. They're in a situation where they do have to make plays. You can't just sit back passively and wait, and that's going to give them a decisive advantage as much as they can have in this position. And now he's stuck behind the smoke and the flashbangs, and Torres isolated on the site. He's got to do it by himself. That's a good start. Can't find anything else though, but there is space here. No smoke down to prevent Calix from finding vision. There is the smoke. But they have construction, so they can mount the retake. My god, Hardstyle going in with the MP9 chase.
Let's go, Hardstyle Major, keeping an eye on Banana, where Nifty is. Meanwhile, Yusilo's putting in damage, 2 kills. He'll find a third on Major, but the coffin will betray him, and Renegades have been eliminated in this round. Space Soldiers will tie the score, 7-7. AWP in tow, and perhaps Major can pick up an AK. Indeed, there is one lying for him. They'll move around, run over the bodies, make sure if there's any grenades to collect. They can do that because every little helps. We move in to the last round of the first half, 7-7. And I mean, we've spoken about Space Soldiers a lot, but from the Renegades' point of view, 7 rounds for Space Soldiers is surely too many.
It's a big deal, especially because they won the pistol. I would love to see Space Soldiers with an AWP setup in the apartments in this round, like the passive one around the balcony. Because I think, Renegades, will they just hammer B again, or are they going to go A? You have to take some risks and just try to have a setup that deals with that. So we're going to see a very fast timing here. Oh, actually, they start walking. Okay, well, they're just going up mid. What is the play here for Space Soldiers? Very default stuff from them. So passive, all the way back in the bomb site. Hardstyle's in trouble here. He will get smoked off. They'll stay alive, and Paz will start things off there. The kill on Yusillo. Oh, they line up. Some tapping coming in from Major. How much can he get? He'll eventually go down to Jacob as Torres has a fantastic angle. Perhaps he can still save the day. Oh, he can't find it onto Jacob though. That's a problem.
Calix with an AWP is their weapon to collect. I mean, if he picks one up now, he will concede his position immediately, but he might have to pick one up because how does he avoid getting traded? Walking in with a scope, and this is a long journey, but the smoke is down. This is the last round. He's got to go for it. Sees a rifle at his feet, but it's only a FAMAS. Maybe there's more around this corner. Got to be quick. The weapon is dropped. Got to go fast. Going for Graveyard. Nobody there. That bomb is very safe. And Nifty will end the round for an 8-7 lead in favor of Renegades.
I kind of like the setup there at the end. When you know you have time to have a post-plant setup and you have 2 players left, the very common thing that people do is they'll put one on the box in the corner of the site, and they'll play a sort of crossfire situation with someone in the pits, which I think that was what was expected from Calix. So, playing against that expectation, mixing up the common setup, and, well, Nifty, he just got the headshot immediately, so didn't even really come into play. But you're right, 7 rounds to Space Soldiers is incredible. In this game, this is the first pistol that they've lost so far in the tournament, so if they're able to stay consistent and win this pistol, Space Soldiers have a really good opportunity to make a really good T side of this. What if Renegades get into that reset hell on their CT economy? This can go wrong for them. It can.
So many questions.
so
many questions.
Yeah, such as why did you use plural with a lack of pluralization?
Yeah, that's a question too, Dan.
So they're all questions.
Major and Hardstyle. So he will be the grenade man. No P2 Fiddies for the Space Soldiers team. 3 of the 5 players with Kevlar. All Kevlar for Renegades. Perhaps not expecting this one to go the distance, this pistol round. 3 towards B for Renegades. JKS, Azza and Jacob. Space Soldiers seem to be fixated on the A bomb site for the time being. Yusillo and Nifty will be in the pit. And I do wonder if one goes down, if the other will show immediately or try to use the element of surprise of a silenced M4. to pick off a few players. Jacob's starting to wonder what's going on Banana. Having a look from the corner, and Azza starting to move maybe into a rotation position. Although there's no eyes towards Arch, so Azza doesn't know if there's a potential wrap coming in, which is why he's in construction right now. So let's see. Renegades obviously have put themselves in this position. So how are they going to deal with it? Initial grenades sailing in. Where will these smokes go?
Over there. In front of that, a stack. See the harassment start to be shown into that bomb site as Nifty. He gets tagged down pretty low. He can't do anything. He's still in a horrible position here. This is very difficult. Only one, as the T's will stream into the bomb site and easily get the bomb planted. 3 players on the retake mission for Renegades, and they are fairly spread out, so that could work to their benefit. But I don't know. There's 4 players in a good post-farm positions here for Space Soldiers. That's a good start, though.
There's no kit. They can't take too long. Free kill for Major. Uses that man advantage as bait, and it works out for him. Checking with some pre-fire, but they don't need to fatally engage him now. And he's going to save his Kevlar. He has not taken any damage, which means he can buy a helmet for 350 if he wants one. Maybe he wants a kill instead. I think the 650 of the Kevlar has higher value than the 300 for a kill, but there we are. Just the round goes with Space Soldiers. Now, when you saw that smoke wall on the short position, there were 2 players on the short. One of them was spamming the Glock, and I think he was trying to cover the footsteps of the players running on Arch, because obviously if you fire your pistol that fast, it's going to be inaccurate, whether you're taking pot shots through the smoke or not. 3 MAC-10s in this second round for Space Soldiers and the 2 AK-47s. We could see a pair of grenades glide through the air here for Renegades. Azza and JKS will be carrying those. Azza, though, is on A on his own, and JKS is on B with the remainder of the Renegades.
Oh, this HE. Oh, that's a bit too late, I think. Oh, no, it wasn't. That was actually bang on. Yeah, oh my god, so much damage from that one player. No kills, though, which might make things, you know, obviously it's very misleading. So Space Soldiers pick the right bomb site, and they'll get themselves a free plant. Here you can see them wrapping the A bomb site. It's a very effective way to take that bomb site. It completely destabilizes any positions the CTs might have on the site itself, and in pit as well. And the pit and the bomb sites defensive positions for the CTs are really strong if you're just running through quad, because they get an inherent crossfire, which is very, very useful. But this is Space Soldiers losing 0 players, at least at this point, unless someone dies to the bomb, on their first anti-eco round. And I like that Renegades decided not to go for a force buy. They just bought some CZs. They left money in the hole. That's them saying, look, we really think that our buy rounds are very strong and that we're so much in advantage there that we want to get to the best buy round possible as soon as possible.
Kaboom. Space Soldiers in the lead once again, but how long will it last? This is still a dangerous round for Space Soldiers, which is the value in, okay, you stacked one site, and most of you survived. Rather than running back to A and playing for exits maybe, or pushing and dying, you can use all these weapons for basically a repeat of the previous round now. Maybe they even stack the B bomb sites again, or do something else, we'll see. But those CZ-75s are very dangerous, and JKS still has his HE grenade. If he can have the success that Azza had with that grenade, and they can follow it up with these pistols, then that could be a round to win.
It's a round in the bin, as we have a multitude of players rushing in. Hardstyle getting his MAC-10 game on, and it is a wipeout there. Nifty is the last man standing, and he's not going to have too much play, I don't think, with this USP. He's going to be just chilling with the chickens.
Hardstyle clearing everything, because this is still, this will feel dangerous because of the damage taken by Space Soldiers. They are vulnerable, but Nifty is just enjoying some music here. He's just chilling out. He's like, you know, the game starts the next round. Let's just chill out with these tunes. Maybe he's got his air guitar game on. I miss, just to the left of here, you used to be able to stand in between the wall and the APC on old Inferno, and you can't do that anymore. It's a nice hidey hole. but now it's gone. It's all changed here on Inferno. I still remember those smoke grenades people would throw from CT spawn all the way over mid.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. I've done quite a few of those as well back in the days. It's so abusive, isn't it? It's like, it just feels like so...
It was a lot.
I can smoke the other side of the map from my spawn. That's great.
And then the Molotovs, which would be thrown on the roof to stop the grenade from bouncing off in a certain place to do its job, and then the grenade would need to be repositioned and so on and so forth. How times have changed. 2 MAC-10s will continue for Space Soldiers, and only 2 players for Renegades have helmets. What does that mean? That means that they can get one-shot by those MAC-10s. Running accuracy will be a problem should Space Soldiers get close enough. Nifty with the D-Law, top mids. 3 players starting on Banana for Renegades. Standard stuff as Azza and Jacob start to head towards A.
So Renegades have some decent positions now. They've worked out what's going on. They got the 1-4 split, and Space Soldiers, are they going to try to go back? I don't think that it's wise. Hardstyle is just covering for the flank, so I don't think it's so. Yeah, they're going to just channel through that quad position. This is what I was talking about. These crossfires can be dangerous. That's why they throw the smoke down for Pit, but it's just not helping. Azza's just murdering them one by one, and they had to hit their entries. Hardstyle's in there though, doing what he can. What else can he get from this position? Let's see what it's all about. The damage. The frag would be great, but Hardstyle will go down. And I mean, it's a simple round, James. They just throw the smoke to deny the crossfire from Pit to the site, and they just try to isolate the site player. But you have to get the frag.
Yeah, Azza dancing around the pit. When the first player gives the information for Azza, but his teammate comes to join him and has the initial peek, that can really win you around, that spot right there. 9 to 10 from the Renegades perspective, and they have 2 AK-47s now. They are well equipped, as are Space Soldiers. Hardstyle will continue with the MAC-10, but he's no stranger to SMGs in this tournament so far. JKS and Jacob securing Banana, although Torres is in a forward position, holding a smoke in case more Molotovs were to come.
Indeed.
There we go.
Tough ask, isn't it?
This is smoking that Molotov probably makes Renegades wonder if there's a push. Look how many grenades have been invested on Banana by both teams with 1:20 on the clock, and Zantara's looking for the raw peak, but that smoke may save Jacob and allow him safe passage back. So we've spoken about teams and grenades and how much they have at the 1:10 mark, and we've seen some teams with like 4 grenades. Right now Renegades only have 1, although I think 1 was just used at top mid, so it's a good start from Space Soldiers, but it's about how you finish.
Yeah, and it's very smart for them just to commit to be here. There's a small window of timing, which they're still in, where the attack makes a lot of sense. Hardstyle will go in first with the MAC-10. He'll be the first to die there. There's no direct trade, but it's Paz in with it. It's just scooting on by, and a 3v3 after plant. This round is worth 2.
3v3, but they don't have position. Calix tries to get some, and Nifty says no. Yustedo and Azza still rotating and maybe looking for a lurker behind them, but there is none. Major on Banana and Paz in the corner. There are 2 Molotovs for Renegades, so he could be in trouble, Paz. He may have to force his way forwards, and Frag out. How deep will it go? Oh, he's got to run all the way through it again. Looking to his left now. He didn't see the gun. He did see the gun, but it was too late to go back. Major will not get the frag. He moves first. He misses it. Goes back again. He gets a headshot, but if one's being defused, they will lose everything, Space Soldiers, and Renegades will tie the score.
Yeah, that's a big win for Renegades there. The bomb going down is a small consolation, and there's a world where they can actually buy here. 3 players can actually afford to buy. If Xantaras opts to drop an AK, I think he can also do that. I'm not sure if he was able to do that or not. He had $5,700. But, okay, no, so we can, of course. My map game is not on point, but that's fine. Hardstyle on the MAC-10. The 4 AKs here for the rest of Space Soldiers. An okay amount of grenades. It's not perfect, but it's a T side. You can tailor it around to your limitations and mitigate them.
So many flames. Space Soldiers don't want to allow Renegades to get into a comfortable position on Banana, hence a Molotov on the car, especially when they've got Nifty in tow. You don't want him on the car position with a sniper rifle. 3 players still here for Renegades. Torres now is in trouble. He could get double peeked by these CTs. There's the white peek and the trade from Nifty. The sandbag player not even needed. that smoke grenade may stop further assault from Space Soldiers, because if they had carried on, I do wonder if they would have even checked for Jacob's position after seeing 2 CTs on the corner. But here we are, 4 on 4 with a minute on the clock.
The crouch peek coming in. High flash for Azza. Is he going to go for a peek? He got blinded there as well. So they're having to slow things down using the reposition and the incendiary to do that. Going to see what else he can get from this. They'll jump up high and they'll be subject to JChem from the side with the M4, and Paz is now alone, and it's not too much he can do from this position. It looks like they have to keep this one up. 18 HP. Can he get an extra kill? No, he cannot. 11 rounds to Renegades. They'll take the lead. And we may have seen the best of Space Soldiers in this matchup may have come and gone now at this point, James, because now Renegades start to move to a comfortable position.
Yeah, it's a noble effort, what we're seeing from Space Soldiers. They're trying to force the issue on Banana, and then like, okay, the longer I think Space Soldiers realize that the longer they play out the rounds, the more difficult it's going to get for them to win the round, especially when Torres goes down immediately. Such an important player for the team, so they're trying to consolidate, trying to do the best they can in a very difficult situation. So perhaps it's advantage Renegades who do not fear depression in this round. They know that Space Soldiers are ill-equipped, and that's a nice tap from Azza. I think it may have been the last bullet, yeah, so.
Oh, hello. Yeah, it's very difficult. I think you're right. You know, you want to, the shorter the round, the less decisions made. The longer the round, the more decisions made, and obviously, if you're not in a spot where you have all 5 players on board, it's more difficult. And they've been trying to find that value, like by fighting on Banana, and there are those rounds where you can, you know, you somehow get those instant 2 kills and you win a round off of the back of that on Banana, but it's usually only happens like once a match. Especially at this level, it's decreasing rapidly, the amount of times that happens. People are much more careful, and the amount of grenades used prevents those rush timings. Alright, so Space Soldier's back on a, well, close to a full buy. I mean, I don't think it'll ever be a full buy. I think we'll mostly see Hardstyle on the Mag 10. Here's the stand-in. And for those of you just joining us, to add some context to this game, it is an elimination match. The loser of this best of 1 will be out of the major.
That could have done a hell of a lot more than it did. Having a quick look at Torres as he goes past before the smoke goes down. Ever the opportunist, but none was provided on that occasion. Space Soldiers maybe looking to burst into the pit area, as we've got 3 players in apartments, although... Well, let's have a look. Got a smoke down, and Major's going to be the first one out. Still on the balcony, the flashes, they're blind, so it's standing on his head. There goes Hardstyle, but the trades are finally there. 2 for 2. Jacob with another frag, but he can't hold the advantage for his team. Now it's a long rotation for Nifty, but JKS is close. We've got 4 smokes on the A sites at the moment, but soon they will be gone.
A dangerous duo, Calix and Torres, back at it again in the 2v2 post-plant. Calix looking for the next player. Does he have a good idea of JKS's position? Seems like he's suspicious. Obviously, only so many angles he's covering for from that position. All spots ahead. Nifty is lucky to keep his head on his shoulders, but Torres, it now falls to him to make this one work. And he is expectant, and he can't do it. The spray, the compensation, pulling down, it doesn't work out for Torres. They'll get a bomb down, and they will have enough to buy the next round, but most importantly, what they will not have is the round.
A reminder, the loser of this match will be eliminated. Renegades 3 rounds away from survival. That's got to be yeah, you can see it's a frustrating one. They'll feel like this is one of the best situations we have been in of late, but no. Renegades able to survive. And for Renegades, I mean, again, it's hard not to focus on Space Soldiers because of the dire straits of their situation, but for Renegades, they're like, guys, we're close to being eliminated from the major. They've got 4 of their team and a guy who basically doesn't play CS, and we're only 3 rounds ahead. We've got to close this out now. We can't let them back into it. I mean, going back to that previous eco round from Space Soldiers, they got 1 frag, but there was an opportunity to keep the money honest of Renegades. At this point, Nifty has $8,000. Same can't be said for his team. It does vary, but it's something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, very tense stuff. Soldiers now with the delayed take of Banana. Xantares leading the charge. The man you want. Space Soldiers, you know, with their full lineup, an incredibly bright and promising up-and-coming team. Shown a lot of good things. I think that's why it's a sad storyline for many. And their heroic efforts here, desperately doing what they can to stay in. Dealing with the hand they've been dealt. That is the mark of a professional. How well can you perform when it all goes wrong? Nifty waits with the AWP, feeling that top mid take, but it's going to be a B play here. So this pressure on A is going to delay that rotation to help these B players. And this contact from Xantares. Can he open things up? No, he can't. Jacob stops him. And now they likely know what's going on.
Played through the smoke on the B bomb side, but there's only one kill, and now Paz is on his own. As is JKS for the time being. He's got to find the kill. JKS knows if he stays alive, the bomb can't be planted. A wider peek and a crouch peek, and that is the run for Renegades. And that has to be a weight off the shoulders of the Renegade side now. A very comfortable position where Space Soldiers, they're going to force it up here. They can get some rifles out on the likes of Calix and Hardstyle. And they've taken a tactical timeout. But I mean, how much is there to discuss? They need to just find opportunity. They're trying to brute force their way into one of these sites, but Renegades have been able to survive for the time being.
Yeah, I think the idea of that round is really, really cool. You know, running the fake is effectively just trying to keep that pressure up on A and then running contact into B is a great idea, especially, you know, having Xantares as the leader of the fragging situation and the entry situation on the B bomber side, but he just couldn't get the first kill, and that's all you really have to do. You get that first kill, your teammate then trades you onto the second defender, and then you get a bomb down as your teammates rotate back from A. That's a great round. It's a good basic, but it just comes down to the execution. You can't always get it, and they are running out of chances here. They have effectively 2 more chances to try to get themselves back in this one. Still sporting a max loss bonus of $3,400 as well.
Nifty and Ustilo in the apartments. Maybe expecting some favor in that direction. A very fast run. Paz with the Mac 10. That was a cheeky one. It's a good start for Space Soldiers and a much needed one, but will they choose to capitalize on this? And by this point, are Renegades expecting that? Jacob rotating back towards the B bomb site. And Space Soldiers may realize that these actions have been telegraphed and they have not been successful. So they will slow things down and try to thin out the defenses of Renegades. Will Renegades keep a 3-1 setup, or will they go 2-2? Either way, there's a reasonable chance, I mean, 50-50 chance, I guess, that Space Soldiers have a numbers advantage when they push into a site. As we can see on the radar, Jacob's slowly moving back now. Azza has vision of top mid, so they can't wrap through Arch. They will go for a 2-2, but Azza's on his own. It's going to be hard for them to trade, and Nifty may be realizing that they're moving towards the Arch position. He's good for 2, and he thinks a third one. He's on massive damage, Azza.
That is a problem, yeah. He did so much for his team. Can Nifty close it down? No! Doesn't suspect Major's position. Managed to go through a blind spot to find that frag, and that gives a renewed chance in this round for the likes of Space Soldiers. Renegades, they're in trouble here. It's a very long rotation from JKS. He's going all the way around the apartments. And they don't really have time for this. Their money is not in the worst place ever.
I do wonder if JKS will try to eliminate some of Space Soldiers. With Paz on a Mac 10, getting a frag in the apartments, they know that the money is tight for Space Soldiers. Now, Renegades, let's see, we've got Nifty on $10,000, Azza on 55, so there's a decision to be made here. JKS on 7, but it seems he will just hang back. Now, if Renegades were in a better situation to go for it in that round, you saw Major in the pit. He was about to throw a smoke grenade, but his team had the comms. They had the clear comms that there was a smoke going down on Arch. Now, do you see many situations where 2 people will smoke off the same thing in a panic? And if they did go for that, that smoke grenade could have been the difference to send Renegades away. There's only 3 rounds between these 2 sides.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
It's like, beyond the pistol, let's just say that's basically the first round Space Soldiers have won for all intents and purposes. That doesn't bode well for them, but the pressure is still there for Renegades.
Yeah, and they're always dangerous. I mean, again, we just know the quality. It just takes 2 decisive entry frags from the likes of any of the Space Soldiers players, really. that we know to be so good. And the ground that you can gain so quickly off the back of that can be a huge difference maker. Oh, that is a nasty grenade. Wow. Okay, that's big. That was Azza again.
That's over 100 damage, I think.
It is, yeah. That's massive. And it's on Xantares and Calyx as well, the two players you really don't want it to.
That's where you want your grenade to land.
Yeah.
Bad apple in the joint basket. So we have perhaps a burst play. Top mid. Okay. So this is how you line it up, people. You're playing on Inferno. Get that burst, flashbang, allow your teammates to swarm up top mid. But they may need to do more than this to really deny the information, because Renegades could go back. Major taken down. Bomb needs to be collected. Hardstyle and Paz charging through. So Hardstyle basically in the entry role now. Azza doesn't have the angles because of the smoke on the flank. Calyx running in on his own. Xantares is a while behind, but Hardstyle there, not only getting a frag with the Mac-10, but running distraction for Xantares to clean up the pit as well.
Yeah, that's an enormous frag. That trade had to happen. It's a 3v3 off the plant now, and this is a very doable round for Space Soldiers. This is pretty tough. If Renegades lose a player quickly, they may have to make a decision, a hard choice to save.
And look at their money as well. If they save with these 3 players alive, then they've got a good buy in the next round. If they commit to this, then who the hell knows? They haven't gone past the point of no return, and maybe the dead players on their team looking at the scoreboard realize that and say, guys, if we lose everything here, we're not in a good spot.
Wow. This is really, yeah, it's really interesting. They should have likely 2 full buys if things start to go wrong. Space Soldiers 2 rounds away now. And again, we've been, I just want to make it clear, Space Soldiers are a massive underdog, and obviously there's a lot of people rooting for them just because of the context that they have. And also a lot of people, putting it into context that Renegades should be winning this game, and Space Soldiers fighting as hard as they can to make that not happen. And this is an elimination match too. This is pretty crazy.
And I mean, even though Space Soldiers, they're unable to play their proper tactics because they have 4 of their 5 players, but they're still a very dangerous squad. So it's not like they should be winning 16-2 Renegades or something like that. Now we've got a massive exchange. It's the Mac-10. There goes JKS as well, but there's one more player here. Will they realize? So much time on the clock. Surely they clear the site. Don't run into the site with the bomb in your hands, and I think Xantares actually did run into the site with the bomb in his hands, but Calyx is there to trade, and surely that is safe territory. They've got that AWP, very important.
Wow.
And this, you know what this reminds me of? There was, I used to play poker in London, like almost everywhere I played, the place got shut down because it's kind of borderline illegal. Anyway, there was this this woman who wasn't the best poker player in the world, but she qualified for the World Series of Poker, and she was like, she couldn't outplay the people she was against. And she went deep. She made some money, but when someone played against her, she would just go all in or fold. That was it. It's let's not play the game. It's everything or it's nothing, and it's everything for Space Soldiers up banana with the Mac-10.
That's how I played poker as well, James. Basically. So this is really, that was, so I basically mentioned this earlier. I said, usually one round of T-side Inferno you can expect to see around like that, where you get 2 instant kills and just win the round off with it on banana. And it's a timing thing. Sometimes the timing just doesn't work out in the spot where the T-side decides to have a really good the push, and how they have really good spawns. So that's a gift. That's a gift from above for Space Soldiers. That the stars aligned to let that timing be so savage.
Yeah. If you have a spawn to make a play like that, at least for those of you guys at home, I love that play. Just the running accuracy of the Mac-10, get the flashes there, go for it. Go for it. Now, Renegades, what do you do? How do you approach the beginning of the round? Does that make you play more passively towards banana? Do you then give up the real estate? Because when we saw the Space Soldiers money become short on Space Soldiers' CT side, they had to play less aggressive on banana, and Renegades really abused the early map control. So are they going to play their own game, Renegades, or will they be conditioned into a safer scenario because of plays like that from Space Soldiers?
I hope that Renegades can just sort of keep it together and just try to just play round for round here, because the pressure has to be mounting in a pretty real way right now, because those thoughts that it's starting to go wrong could be creeping into the back of your mind, and that could affect how you play. And you can't be doing that. Right now, Space Soldiers are going for broke. Another big push on Banana here. Santana leads the charge. That is a stunning shot to enter this area. And Hardstyle follows up with the second one. Nifty, though, to drop Hardstyle. Right now, Renegades know. Oh my God, Paz! How on earth did he manage to find that one? A 3 versus 2. They have no money, James. Do they go for this? They have a round loss bonus, but they can't go for it. 14-14, Space Soldiers tied up.
Oh my God.
Renegades money on the ropes.
That was absolutely insane. Hardstyle coming around the corner like he's Sylvester Stallone or something, but he's carrying the bomb as well. So many implications. Paz jumping past the corner on his own. If he goes down, there's no trade. There was no trade for Hardstyle, just flying in there with the headshot as the smoke blooms as well. Absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy.
And Renegades knew to put 3 players on Banana for the eventuality that Space Soldiers don't have a lot of good options with their T side, and that's become clear across this half. The rounds that they've had to win have just been so clutch, mostly, and just trade-based and in chaos. You can't rush Banana every single round. So what do Space Soldiers do next? That's a really big question, and I don't know what the answer is to that. I don't think there is a good answer to it.
Can they really do this? Hardstyle. Oh no,
nice.
it's Xantares.
Yeah.
Oh no, you did get one. Okay, nice. There we go.
That is crazy.
That is like, if he doesn't get that kill, they probably lose the game.
Paz the man.
We have another timeout from Renegades, their second last tactical timeout. Now, Nifty had about $7,500 at the beginning of this round. So drops are able to be made, but of course having to drop 2 guns means very light on grenades for him. So Nifty and JKS, well, JKS has, okay, he's got money in the bank actually, so let's see how well equipped they are.
Oh,
they'll have most of what they want apart from that AWP, but you start to wonder if this can actually happen.
No, that is really, that's a hard thing to imagine. That would be so crushing for Renegades if they were to concede this. They look calm, but the question is, are they still communicating in the right way? Are they still making decisions in game in the right way? That we'll see on the server as things begin here now. 2-3 setup. Space Soldiers going hard and fast up that Banana position once again. Just charging, looking for a good timing. JKM forced back. Paz finishes him off with a MAC-10. JKS at the back of the site. The flames will get Paz. It will slow them down, but can JKS hold?
Now, do we have Hardstyle going wide? We do. Calix and Xantares, that is a nasty trio. They know what's going to be in. There's a flashback from a teammate. JKS, he's on fire, but he's still alive, and he just needs to stay alive, and this scenario becomes worse and worse for Space Soldiers. They have the money if they lose this round, but they don't want to lose this round. JKS still alive at the back. Xantares, he can't see through the flames. Finally he can. There's the spray. 2 on 2. Both the CTs here, but not on the site just yet. Smokes it down. 2 Molotovs for the T side. Nifty with an off angle. But one can be thrown over there. They know the site is clear now. Nifty firing a shot. He gave his position away, and Xantares will rip his face off. We are so close to match point, but where is Justillo? His position is surely unknown. But there are 45 seconds on the clock, and it seems that Space Soldier's going to back off. They know Justillo has to be on the site. And there it is. Xantares again with a giant headshot. It's match point, Space Soldiers.
Xantares, the hero Space Soldiers need. My God, are they actually making this happen? What a desperate spray. What a desperate situation. They were stuck in pool. They couldn't move. There were Molotovs all over the place. It looked like they'd lost all momentum, but somehow they managed to start the engine back up once again, and they pull it through to a round victory. And right now, Renegades, they could be having some PTSD moments right here, because this is not the way you want to go out of a major if you're in their position. But it could be happening.
Cannot believe that I am watching this right now. I cannot believe that Space Soldiers are the first to match point. This is surreal.
Okay, and add up the fact that Renegade's buy absolutely sucks. And there are some problems here. What on earth do you do in their position? Surely there's no good answer for this.
Man, like Hardstyle.
2 M4s, a UMP, a FAMAS, and an MP9. That does not summon confidence in me.
This is, even if they are to win this match, if this is the only match they win, it would be so awesome a story. Major with a giant opportunity with the AWP, and you do wonder if nerves are settling in, missing the shot there. And Renegades have control of Banana for now, but a retake is very possible. Hardstyle is in position for the flashbang as well, over the stairs. but it seems that they will let them have a banana for now. Renegades still playing their game. They know they have control of banana. They'll put 4 on the A side, but now Hardstyle's going back. This flashbang goes over the roof. If you're playing the car position or something like that, even where JKS is standing, as you can see on the radar, he will be hit by the flashbang. So what is the purpose of this? Is this to take banana? Is this to send more Renegades players back? They have to fear a B play, Renegades. They have to fear it after all this action. And Space Soldiers know that. But they haven't been so successful towards A. So do they go to B anyway? So many decisions to be made here by both teams.
And Torres once again the man looking for the first frag, looking to create a space for his teammates to go in. Going deep now in towards the bomb site, looking for the first positions. Oh, that's a big one from Nifty. And Azza, very well done, trying to hold on with very limited weaponry. These weapons can perform in these ranges. Paz, though, with a double in response. Nifty still on the box. They don't know that he's there. Major now finds him, but they are incredibly weak. It's up to Paz to stop overtime. He's got 34 points of health. How on earth is he going to pull this one off?
The bomb has been planted. The smoke is down to create some space. There's a Molotov. He goes through the smoke grenade. It may save him. He's so low. 34 HP. He's picked up a Molotov. There's the first play. Can he find a second? No, it's going to be overtime again. Renegades have to be sweating bullets at the moment. And he saw the nightmare scenario there. Hardstyle running onto the site with the bomb in his hands. They didn't know it was clear, but you can't blame him for it. But that could have been the difference. If he had his AK out, who the hell knows what happens?
Oh, my God. My goodness gracious me, this is very tense. One of the worst things about these elimination matches, and something that we can't trivialize, is that whoever's on the worst end of this, it is heartbreaking. It's one of the worst things that you pour your heart and soul, all your time, and your identity as a human being is to play Counter-Strike at a professional level. So and that's what these players are playing for. I guarantee whoever comes off the worst in this matchup is going to be just straight out depressed for well over
well, I don't know.
weeks.
I would say if it's Renegades, yes. If it's Space Soldiers, at this point, you have to be proud of what you've been able to do, all things considered. All things considered. And, I mean, we've talked about everybody. We've talked about, like, managing Hardstyle and so on, but just what is the experience for him? He wasn't expecting to come and play in a major.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's not quite like when Threat stood in for NIP, way back when, because he hadn't touched the game in, maybe a year as a player, but he has enormous experience as a professional,
yeah.
and he had been playing CS:GO at a professional level like a year before that. So
yeah, and obviously his game sense is colossal.
Yeah, so there is that at least.
That's not necessarily the case here.
And also, he knew every lineup for every grenade as well, because he had to learn them all to teach his players what to do. So that's such a different situation to this.
Yeah. Well then, Hardstyle will start with the MAC-10 once again. So again, it's easier for him, and I mean, it's proven to be successful on multiple players here for Space Soldiers, but also it allows him to be a farm if needed in terms of guns for his team. Right then, Space Soldiers not contesting. I kind of did see that in my mind's eye. I'm like, okay, they've done B so many times. Renegades are going to be convinced they're going to go to B, so they're going to go to A, and B's where they've had their success regardless, and they're not going to win a round on A. But they came pretty damn close.
It's smart because you condition the other team to have 3 players on B early too, so either way, you feel like Renegades have a strong opportunity here, especially now Yusilo will be laying down the damage, and there's not too much that can be done here. It's just such a strong setup against that smoke. I mean, what are you possibly going to do? It's just chaos now. Azza just pecking at them from behind, and that will be the graveyard top mid for Space Soldiers. And James, I mean, isn't it the case now that Renegades surely will just pull out here? You feel like Space Soldiers only have so much they can do with this situation.
Yeah, it's good to see Renegades mixing things up in overtime. I'm not sure that they played that boost setup in a single round, so that was at the back of Space Soldiers' mind. Zantares, I think his teammate got dinked by the player on the roof, and then Zantares just fired the extra bullets or two to finish him off, which is awkward, but there we go. They kind of got stuck in that position and weren't able to get any further. Now, do they go back to Old Faithful, the B bomb site? Probably not, because Major's on an AWP now. Double HEs to start things off on Banana. Zantares is by the logs. And Paz very quickly into the boiler position. Oh, he could get caught off, actually, but Nifty choosing not to go for it. He will hear the reload of Paz and know he's not next to the door anymore. Nifty will keep things quiet, but keep things close to top mid. with the smoke down. Playing an angle like this, if there was a push from a T, trying to get an opportunist frag, Nifty would be at an advantage. See, as a jumping on double stack, as Calyx is looking for something, looking for an opening.
So 1 minute to go, and this is a great spot for Renegades. They have a good portion of map control. They don't have Banana, but they have top mid, so that's always okay. If you don't have one, if you have the other, that's fine. It's when the T's can take both away from you, that's when things get a bit scary, but they actually concede top mid for the time, and we'll see that Space Soldiers will take over. And because Renegades now do not have Banana as well, there's a lot of opportunity here for Space Soldiers to push in, and the rotation from B will be slow. Space Soldiers now making the move forwards. Nifty not blind at all. There's a smoke. He's going to dart out for it, though. That is devastating. Nifty finds two. There's no trade frag. Paz comes in late. Does take down Nifty, but has he done too much?
Calyx making steps on the short position, and they're all playing slightly weird angles, and it's working so far. Renegades, have they finally stabilized after heart attack situations in normal time?
Yeah.
2 from 2. And there's been no plants here for Space Soldiers. The money is low. Hardstyle's got 6,500, which may be the saving grace, but they've got to find a round in this last round of the first half. 17 rounds for Renegades, 15 for Space Soldiers. We're looking at the first to 19 to stay in this major.
I mean, credit to Renegades, at least on the outside. They don't look like they've been freaking out at any point, which obviously is very important. And they are quite experienced at this point as well, so that's... They definitely have the experience to have cultivated those qualities. If they win, I would love to hear that question asked, you know, like, were you guys freaking out in those last rounds? But we're not there yet. Space Soldiers still breathing, still on the server, still play to be had. Double Mag 10 here for Space Soldiers, and it's worked out before on this A-bomb side. Let's see if it will do so again. Flash out from Major. Yusilo trying to dodge the flash. He does so successfully, and he's going to get himself a 3-1. Oh my goodness, Yusilo is just going to take everyone out with the AK-47. Very well played by Renegades. And Space Soldiers, they're trying to keep it simple, but simple's not working right now.
That's the Yusilo we know. Torres almost walking to his doom. Still alive for now. Never count him out until he's on the floor. 18 to 15. Renegades now with 3 match points. Surely this is it. It should not arguably have been this difficult, but they're so close to the line now.
One more round. One more round. That's all it takes. But Space Soldiers move on to the CT side, and obviously that seemingly that was an easier side for them. The T side kind of seemed, you know, fairly desperate here or there, and mostly everywhere, I suppose. But the CT side, you know, they had some more stability, and obviously we'll see them buy what they want. They've got an AWP on Paz. Do they take any risks? What is the call here? They've got to win 3 back-to-back CT rounds to stay in this one to secure another overtime. At best. To lose one round is over, but this is a great start from Paz. The aggression on the apartments. Good rifle support, tossing in the flash to make him safe.
Ding dong. Well, just a ding, not a dong just yet. Flashbang and Xantares will fall off. They understand, they know they need to get themselves an early advantage, and Xantares will stand his ground with this M4. He's slowly moving back, but got to be careful in case someone has a superior angle. Playing around the smoke, trying to catch them off guard, but Renegades are retreating for the time being, at least from the banana position. Xantares getting curious, but Nifty's by the logs. There's a flashbang, and he could get completely caught off guard here. Does Jacob go down to trade frag? No, Xantares. Oh, that's got to be brutal. He really wants to have a part in this whole round, I'm sure. So important for his side, but he's gone. 4 players left for Space Soldiers. 4 players between Renegades and Survival as they start to move top mid. Arch smoked off, Paz in the arch itself, Hardstyle in the sight, and Major near the pit.
35 seconds to go. Shaken starts to round the ball there, and that's a very important frag. Hardstyle now on the bomb site with Paz. What can he do? Oh, he's so blind. He gets behind him, though. Opportunity strikes there. He'll delay the plant. But unfortunately, there's no one to really capitalize on that. Calyx too far away, anchoring the B-bomb sites. but he has to go for it. This looks like it could be the round here where Renegades will be able to just breathe this huge sigh of relief. But can Calyx still ruin their day? No, he cannot. Nifty with the goods. 19-15. It took an overtime, but Renegades will not be eliminated. Will instead have to wave goodbye, unfortunately, to Space Soldiers.
Renegades get there in the end. Life is not always easy, and it won't be for Space Soldiers. A noble effort from them. You have to applaud their attempt in getting this far, and they had to feel victory just around the corner, but Renegades managed to survive, and that, I mean, those last rounds was so crazy. A little change here, a little change there, but I mean, for Space Soldiers to get that far in the first place, the frags through the smoke, the entries with Mac 10s at the opposite end of apartments, absolutely nutty game of Counter-Strike.
Yeah, it was crazy. I think it's always sad, you know, Space Soldiers as a team, I think a huge fan favorite just because of the consistency they've had with the lineup, what they, like, obviously their potential that they've shown, and they're just a really fun team to watch as well. So can't wait to see more of them. It's hard to imagine a Major without the likes of Xantares and Major and Paz and all of them. But, you know, Renegades move on, and they have time now. They've got space to correct the storyline for themselves.
Well, they have some time. I mean, they're going to be in action, you know, sooner rather than later, because they have a lot of games to win if they are to make it to the next stage of the Major. And I don't know, excuse me, how much they could take away from that, considering the special style Space Soldiers felt they had to play like on their T side, where they're just trying to force the issue again and again. Again, the longer the round plays out in a kind of tactical style, maybe the worse it gets. Freya is with Renegades.
Thank you, guys. Yes, I've managed to grab JKS and Nifty from the winning side Renegades. So, guys, that was a close matchup. How did you manage to close it out in overtime?
We just knew we had to just hold our heads steady. We were losing ourselves a little bit at the end of that half, just kind of choking a bit of a lead, but it's okay because we kind of gathered our thoughts and just everybody calmed down for a bit and we pulled through.
Yeah, because you guys had a really solid T side to start off with. What worked so well for you here, JKS?
Well, I mean, on T side, we kind of started off strong, but we lost the first couple of gun rounds. I think we just kind of started taking it slower, and we just stopped putting like so much pressure on ourselves mid-round. I think if we just stayed calm and eventually just worked the round out like slowly, we eventually won.
Yeah, because you guys seem to put a lot of pressure like on B, going up sort of top banana. Did you find any weaknesses there to exploit?
No, I mean, it's super just unfortunate for the Space Soldier situation anyway, but we felt more comfortable going towards A, but a couple times it was just weird because they were like stacked a couple times. So yeah, I don't know. We kind of we took it a little bit faster and a little bit more scrappy, and kind of just taking the fights because we were confident winning them. So that was my mistake. The first 4 gun rounds that we lost in a row was I was kind of like defaulting, you know, and attacking B a little bit, going straight into like Xantares and Calyx. So a little bit of a mistake there for me, but we kind of just switched it up right after that.
Yeah, because Calyx, he had a great game. He was playing really well. How did you manage to counter him at the end?
Well, we didn't necessarily counter him, but yeah, Calyx, he's a very consistent player, it seems, for Space Soldiers, and he's a super good player, so he's difficult to work around in any case, you know?
Yeah, you guys going into overtime, you seemed oddly calm. Were you feeling the pressure inside? Because it didn't seem like it on the outside.
More so towards the end of the CT half, not so much in overtime. Like when they were starting to come back when we were up 14-10, we made some couple of mistakes. Like I forgot to refer a flash, and I think we could have got a lot of kills on that round. And then the next round after that, I overpeaked on B. But then once we got the final round, so we can take it into a draw, I think we just kind of just leveled our heads a little bit, and we just started saying like, you know, we can't do this. Just stop getting into our heads so much and just chill out.
Now, I spoke to you guys at the minor. What's changed since then? How have you grown as a team?
Well, we had a 2-week boot camp in Copenhagen, so we spent a lot of time there focusing and just cleaning up our map pool, anything that we felt needed to be removed or added or just tightening things up a bit. And I know it hasn't shown so far to the public, I suppose, in these 3 maps so far, but we definitely have a lot more to showcase than people think we do. So once we just get in our groove and we're comfortable, which I think we are now, things are going to be just a little bit different.
Well, you guys have got another chance to show that skill and show to the public that you guys are here to stay. We're going to head back over to the analyst desk.
Wow, of course, another overtime, as this seems to be the day of them. But what on earth is going on here, chat? Renegades pushed to the limits by a team that we already prefaced were operating at half capacity.
A 2-week boot camp or 2 weeks cleaning boots? I don't know if they touched Counter-Strike while they were in Copenhagen, because this display, they were relieved to get that victory. You can tell how dejected the players were. Yeah. No celebration after the victory. And that's not meaning they were playing against a bad opponent. That's meaning they were playing against an opponent with the coach as a stand-in who, let's be completely honest, his utility usage and the way that I think his flashes were the most effective in the entire server. Yeah. Out of all 10 players. The coach has been taught how to throw a couple of nades, and he was setting players up. He was running into bomb sites first. He was getting traded out every single time. Admirable from Space Soldiers. They can walk away from this with their heads held high, because in this matchup right here, they gave it their all, and they probably deserve the victory more.
I mean, I'll tell you something crazy. You know, despite losing to Renegades in the end, Hardstyle had more flash assists than Ustilo, Jacob, and Azza.
Crazy.
Yeah, the coach of the team. Fantastic work. Fantastic work from Space Soldiers, as we do get to see their departure here. It is with a heavy head. We do not get to see Space Soldiers advance to the Legends stage of the Major. They fall here in the Challenger, but of course, victim of circumstance more than anything else. And I just, like, the Renegades interview there, of course, Freya just asking, you know, usual questions you'd ask a winning team.
Sure.
What we learned from that, apart from the words they spoke, was this was not a team that felt like winners, and not a team that was particularly proud, other than perhaps relieved.
And neither should they be. Playing against Shantaris and Calyx is always a tough task, but with a coach as a stand-in who doesn't really play Counter-Strike, it should be an easy win. Like every single day, right? It's one of those things where I feel Renegades is just not... Something has to change, like, significantly for them today, tomorrow, if they want to have just a decent chance of doing any damage at this tournament. It's been looking really, really poor, and I feel this is the worst we've seen for them. And if the worst Renegades come out after 2 weeks of bootcamp in Copenhagen, then I don't even know what's taken to get good again.
Is it really the worst? Devil's Advocate stepping in for a moment. Hi, they call me Machine. Azza drops a 30 bomb. JKS is chasing it with 25. Admittedly, we go into OT. Like, aren't they your normal win conditions?
Should never be OT. That's the point of the situation, right? The fact of the matter is it should never have gone that far, and their reaction tells you that it should never have gone that far. That's not just saying that. You can see by the way that they have approached this matchup and the way that they finished it, in the sense of, we shouldn't even be getting this close. And once again, no disrespect to Space Soldiers. Those guys put in their all, but they've been dealt a rough card, and that's just the way the cookie crumbles sometimes.
Yeah, truly hamstrung. We'll take a look at that head-to-head as well, which is brought to you by the Predator, one of the sponsors, not Spencers, of the FACEIT Major. Nifty was highlighted, and indeed we highlighted beforehand how we wanted to see this man almost let off the in-game leadership chain, and he's still putting his weight in the fragging department, but perhaps not as flashy as we were hoping.
He's been gone missing as well. I think Nifty was one of the upswings during the Dallas period and during the Pro League period, where we really thought to ourselves that this is a guy who potentially could go to a Cloud9 or go to a better team in the future. Yeah. But as of recently, we haven't seen much of him either. I feel it's a joint decision, though. It's the entire team who's just lacking off. It's not one player that is not playing well anymore. It's just like this whole team as a Renegade and the whole chemistry within the team. It just doesn't seem to work out right now.
Yeah, and we're going to take a look at that updated bracket for you as well, because we've got one more game to come this evening as we head towards the morning. It's North versus Virtus.pro to round this one out. Take it in, breathe it in. Look at this day. Look how good goddamn long it is.
I was doing a couple of quick maths before, right? If you played 8 best-of-1s in a day, and worst case, like a nightmare scenario would be all games going 30 rounds. That's 240 rounds. Before that match just there even started with Renegades versus Space Soldiers, with over 6 best-of-1s, we had already played 222 rounds of Counter-Strike. You add on what we've just had that tally, and now North versus VP, anything is humanly possible. We could be well and truly over the 300 rounds of Counter-Strike in one day.
Let's go for the record.
Let's do it.
Get the caffeine on standby, and we'll get into this one. And actually, I think we can get into this one. We're going to be kind of accelerating the schedule a little bit. I just want to confirm with my magical producer. Are we ready to go ahead?